no way. Oh, the kill, Shadowburn. Unbelievable how good he is. I mean, talk about faith in your DPS, just saying, all right, Jake, go to work, and he does. And Philadelphia just looks untouchable right now.
That was very clutch from Houston.
It was a strong effort by the Florida Mayhem, but the London Spitfire are victorious. They'll take that match 3-1. And you know what? I gotta say, I feel like the Florida Mayhem, they always play very well against the top teams. We see them come with their best game. But all right, on to our next match. We have the Houston Outlaws going up against the Philadelphia Fusion. Two of the top teams in the stage so far. Now, for the Philadelphia Fusion, they have not dropped a map so far this stage. And for the Houston Outlaws, if they win this match, they put themselves in really good position to overtake the NYXL in the overall standings here at the Overwatch League. Where my Fusion and Outlaws fans at? Where y'all at? All right, I think they're ready. So with that, let's go ahead and send it over to the desk with Puckett.
Thank you so much, Malik. It is day 26 of the Overwatch League regular season, and it's day 6 of stage 2. I'm Puckett, your host, joined once again. We got the full desk, the roommates. Reinforced, Sideshow, Zoe in the...
I'm definitely not rooming with him. Like, just to point that out, I'm not.
She's got a much, much nicer place,
true.
trust me. All right.
I'd love to be that.
Yeah.
We just don't let her.
It's jealousy.
You guys do have a nice loft, though. All right, let's keep this moving here, because this is the matchup we've been so pumped for. If you've been following the action, we knew this one was coming up, and it was a surprise in week 1 to see just how strong our two squads were. Philadelphia Fusion came out swinging. They won all 8 games in the first week. On the other side, the Houston Outlaws, a really tough schedule. Now we get to see them go toe-to-toe, and a little bit later, we'll find out, is New York still going to be at the top of the leaderboard? But it's time to get right into it. Are you guys ready here in the Blizzard Arena? It's time to wake up and make some noise, and welcome to the stage, the Houston Outlaws. I love it. The Whistlers are out here today, and if you look at Houston, this squad is so good. They've only lost 1 regular season match following week 1, and that was when this man, Linkser, was out sick. That match still went to a game 5 despite the loss to Seoul.
Yeah, they've been so consistent, and for me, this makes Houston Outlaws the team to beat. If you want to solidify yourself as a team at the top of the standings, you have to take these guys down, and so far, teams have really struggled to.
I love that Clockwork is back in the mix as well. Look for the Tracer once again. There's Linkser, but Zoe, we know the DPS always been stacked. The tanks adding even more pieces.
They will. Fact Fiction is now officially announced as part of their team. He has yet to physically actually get here. When I talked to their GM Flame, what this player will bring to this wonderful, beautiful, handsome team we see on your screens right there, he said more options in their tank playstyle as well as another coaching point for Muma and the rest of those players. So I'm looking forward to that.
Does nobody like Boink?
Lovely Boink at the end.
I like Boink.
Wear a Bucking spray.
He booped him away.
No.
It happened. Johnny, when you look at this squad, who is the most dangerous player to watch?
Well, it's Linkser. Linkser is the most dangerous to watch, but keep an eye out for Clockwork. He is the most aggressive tracer in the team, I would say. So this tells me we're going to see aggressive dives. So keep an eye out for Clockwork on his tracer.
Trying to meet the pace of their opponent. Let's give it up for the boys who need some brotherly love. Let's hear it for Philadelphia Fusion. Judging purely by their performances in Stage 2, this is my most exciting team to watch in the Overwatch League. Their dives have been so pure, the individual skill has been off the charts, but in their first 2 matches, their star was EQO. Today, he subbed back out for Shadowburn.
Yeah, you know what? I was just about to rename him Shadow Bench, but I do not have to do that. And when EQO was fielded in stage, I know, right? That was a good one. But when he was fielded for the first time in stage 2, everyone was like, oh my God, he has such big shoes to fill. Now seeing Shadowburn after EQO's performance, I feel exactly the same way about Shadowburn.
He just stretched those shoes out.
It's just those shoes are just not wearable anymore, honestly.
Yeah, and I feel like this team is the most explosive in terms of what they can bring to the table. They're just crazy unless you can slow them down at all, they're going to roll over you.
I mean, when it comes to individual skill, I would almost say that Philadelphia is up there with some of the most powerful players in the league. So this is a team that is scary to everyone in the league right now.
One thing I noticed here, Dayfly back in the mix alongside Neptuno. Do you think having Boombox out today is a plan?
It might be a reason for more Ana gameplay, and we all love our Ana. So, I mean, we see some nice biotic grenades, some nice sleep darts coming in. I'm excited.
I'm pumped for this one. So many storylines, so many things to watch, and we have to remind everybody, if you're looking at Stage 2, these teams have been perfect. They've been looking so strong. So Sideshow, let's talk about what's got you fired up the most about this match. What are you looking forward to in our first game?
What I love is the Houston Outlaws' use of their tanks. Moomer and Coolmat have been off the charts. In my opinion, Moomer at the moment is performing as the best tank in the league.
Number one,
in my opinion. Moomer plays so individually. He takes flanks around the map, plays on his own, and he jumps onto teams as soon as he notices that there's an opportunity for him to get onto the supports. He's going to put so much pressure on the London Spitfire backline. Or if he thinks that the dives are too successful coming out from Shadowburn and Carpe, he'll leap onto them instead. I feel like this guy is so good, and it is complemented really well by Coolmat keeping defense of the backlines. These two are a stellar tank duo.
Coolmat, we've seen him eating Gravitons, we've seen him peeling for his backlines, and when he's that pilot diva, that baby diva, one of the most lethal ladies on the ground. I love watching this man in his diva play today. But they're going up against some tough tanks on the other side. How do you compare it, Johnny, when you're looking at Philly going up against the tanks here of Houston? Clearly, Houston has to have the edge, right?
I think that Houston has the edge rather when it comes to the tanks. I think overall that Houston has the better fundamentals. But then you look at the Philadelphia Fusion squad and they have powerful tanks such as Fraggy. I mean, he is so aggressive. So, I mean, I know you love this guy.
I do. I love his aggression. However, I do feel that aggression sometimes did not really work in their favor in the past. However, when we're looking at their performance in Stage 1, they actually changed it. It was a lot more calculated aggression, a lot more cautious aggression, and that really, really worked out for them. And I did talk to their team about it, and they said it's a combination of the new maps, the new meta, and of course also the implementation of EQO in their team. But even with Shadowburn, they kind of restructures their calling structure to say structured 3 times now.
It's very structured.
It's a great word, really.
It's working out for them.
Yeah, so they reworked the whole process, and it's showing, really.
I'm excited. Philly's going to show us some new looks today, so let's talk about the keys to success for both of these teams. And Sideshow, let's start with you. When you're looking at Houston, how do they climb to the top of this leaderboard?
In my opinion, Houston have to try and play their own style, and there's a couple of components to this. The first part is that they need to shut down Carpe. Carpe is going to go crazy unless there is someone deliberately focused on taking him out the picture. It might be Moomer counter-diving, it might be Jake trying to take the 1v1s, but somehow they got to lock him down. The second is getting big value out of Moomer. If Philadelphia Fusion realize that Moomer's out on his own and try and focus him down, that could be worrisome. So they need Moomer to have a great game. And thirdly, obviously, if you're playing against Carpe and Shadowburn, they're going to be in your backline trying to kill Boink and Raucus. You need to protect them. Coolmat's got to have a big game.
Okay, it can't just be the diva, though. Real quick for the fans at home, how do you keep your supports alive so that you can win your ladder game?
Boink on Lucio, got to be booping them away. Coolmat with the defense matrix and also with his own boops. And then Moomer leaping back on and trying to kill the people that are trying to kill their supports. Those are the 3 big things.
You hear that, guys? You need your supports, your tanks, and everyone else helping them out. Let's talk about the keys to victory on the other side. If it's the Fusion who wants to continue on their perfect run through Stage 2, how do they get it done today, Johnny?
Well, first and foremost, you need to deal with the Tracer. Usually it's Jake, but in this case it is Clockwork. So deal with the Tracer on the Houston Outlaws, because that will give Carpe so much more room. So it's pretty much dealing with Carpe, dealing with Jake. Just deal with the Tracer, okay? And you're going to win this game. Also, keep a high tempo, because I talked about Houston, they have great fundamentals, but the faster you play, the more you can cause mistakes in the Houston Outlaws team. So the faster you play, the better for Philadelphia Fusion. And also, just let Carpe do his thing. Carpe can adapt to any situation, so I believe that Carpe will be the deciding factor in this team. If he can turn up, kill the tanks, kill the supports, kill the DPS, kill everyone, then Philadelphia Fusion has this.
If they kill everyone, if Carpe kills everyone, they have this.
If you have Carpe murder the entire enemy team, you can win.
So
I think
easy.
Basic keys here. So as we get into this match, give me one player to watch. Who are you keeping your eye on?
Shadowburn, honestly. I want to see him back in the mix. I love what we saw from him in Stage 1, and I can't wait to see the force that is Shadowburn once more on this stage.
I'm told our players are ready. Make some noise with what could be the best match of Stage 2. Houston Outlaws, Philadelphia Fusion. It's going down right now with Mr. X and Uber on the mic.
Best match indeed, at least Puckett, it may well be our match of the week. I'm glad to be here, Mitch Leslie here with Matt Morello. Again, two teams now with a very strong start to stage 2, right? The Outlaws obviously 9-3, the Fusion are 8-4. So this win here for either team could really set them on a solid trajectory going forward.
Houston has been on fire since week 1 of stage 1. They've just been on a tear ever since, the Philadelphia Fusion. They had a pretty good stage 1. I think they would probably tell you they were pretty pleased with how stage 1 went.
You wouldn't have to ask them, they'll offer that information.
Yeah, I think coming in to stage 2, you saw EQO play week 1. He looked quite well. Let's see what Shadowburn can give us today. I think it'll be interesting, in terms of who plays 76. I guess we'll see Shadowburn pick up some 76 responsibility. But, if on a map like this, Volskaya, with so much Sombra in play, we've seen this Philadelphia Fusion team in the past when they were this FaZe roster. A lot of the players coming over from FaZe, they ran a really nice strat, against that Sombra where they ran in right to that Mega Health Pack. Shadowburn was a big reason they were successful on those type of strats. So maybe they just like him better for the map pool today.
Again, two very adept Genji players. Differences perhaps manifest in their gameplay, but on the other side, of course, the Outlaws bring Clockwork in for map 1, who didn't see as much play as Jake did earlier on. Obviously, later on, that key to victory to neutralize Jake will be more of an issue for the Fusion. But again, here, Clockwork definitely needs to think he'll have a target on his back in that role.
Yeah, Clockwork pretty much plays always map 1 here for the Houston Outlaws. It's interesting, a lot of other teams have gone away from doing like mid-game substitutions. It seems like staying with the same rosters all throughout. Whereas Houston, they settled on a roster, they played it all throughout stage 1 pretty much. It was pretty much this team except, Bonnie in for Boink and then Jake in for Clockwork. And then after that, they've started to work in some players, right? We see Spree now come in on Kings Row. We see Clockwork play these first few maps. You see Boink come in on more of the Lucio maps. So they've done a nice job, Houston, of working in these substitute players.
The Philadelphia Fusion have not dropped a map yet in stage 2. Will that continue, or will they be brought to a screeching halt now by the might of the Outlaws? It's time to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Volskaya kicks off, and it's going to be on the attacking side. That Outlaws in the white, the Fusion in the orange.
Yeah, Boombox usually plays for the Philadelphia Fusion. Right now, they're fielding Dayfly, at least for map 1. Potentially, they wanted him to play that Sombra role. You see him just get some damage down, then go back, start farming up that Mega Health Pack.
Yeah, already we get to the Houston Outlaws have actually made their way onto the point, pressuring down Shadowburn, forcing him to try and look for the Mega Health Pack in this low room, or at least get some healing from his team. Raucus finding Carpe is going to open his fight up beautifully. That's one of the big keys to victory here. Major key, guys. Keep that in track. Getting shut down by Raucus. Now, the Outlaws have some time on the point here, and it's going to be a token resistance, if at all. Poco walks out. Shadowburn's there now. Fraggy was there, but he kind of got booped up and away. His trajectory was altered, and he was forced to hang suspended in midair while Linksa got shot after shot into him. Poco's mech being gone, and there's not much left of the Fusion here.
Yeah, it seemed like they were going to play around the EMP, and Fraggy jumps in, needs to contest the point. The EMP never comes through. They get Neptuno here coming off the spawn. Houston may be able to just push this right on through.
That's it, no time to waste. The Outlaws have made their way to the second point now, and Fraggy already getting quick tickle. He's looking for the high ground play. Perhaps it was cool, man. Dayfly is detected around to the side. He needs to get a big EMP to shut this fight down. It's got to be now. No, he's stunned up. He's caught. Great play from Linksa to respond. Now there's no Sombra, no EMP in the mix here for the Fusion, and it seems all too easy. Clockwork's had his 2 players cleaned up. Now there's a Transcendence in over the point, and the Outlaws can have a little bit of a tea party as they wait for the Fusion to stand and deliver, but it may be too late already. Carpe trying to dash around the point, already down to 1 HP or so. Shadowburn trying to get away, but Moomer pursues, relentless of course as he chases him down. Fraggy removed already from the mix, and now a sound barrier. Desperation for the Fusion. Only 3 players get the sound barrier at all, and Fraggy, one of the aforementioned, is already taken down. The Outlaws start strong. They're warmed up and they come in hot.
That was quick. They are able to take out Neptuno as he's trying to get back with Carpe. They kind of push up a little bit because they're expecting some of their other teammates to contest that point, use the EMP, maybe fight that a little bit stronger. So Neptuno falls at about that front gate to that point B area, and then they just push all the way on through. What I really liked from Houston is they knew Dayfly coming off the spawn had that EMP. As soon as they saw that Sombra come back, they spread all the way out. They were able to get a good use of that sound barrier right after.
Interesting that Dayfly didn't immediately go for the EMP. He actually revealed himself by dealing damage, if I'm not mistaken, and then opted to do it. And obviously he didn't have an opportunity to even use that. So the only player on the Houston Outlaws to have died in that round was Cool Matt. 1 death for the entire team, 13 kills. The Fusion only managed 1 kill, and that was for Shadowburn.
Yeah, and Raucus finishes with 6 limbs, 5 final blows, and you saw, I think it was 2 or 3 times
Massive.
he was able to kill Carpe at the beginning of
He's
a
got
fight.
the highest final blows on his team, by the way. So this guy's really been dealing damage and finishing off those kills. That first kill onto Carpe on that point A really opened things up.
And he got a kill on a Carpe again when they were starting to take point B at the middle. Here's Muma's patented Symmetra pick. So he'll go back to the spawn and swap. Always brings out the Symmetra here a little bit, the fan favorite. We still haven't seen her actually played in stage 2.
No. Still not an opportunity for it yet. Perhaps we thought
Hollywood, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Hollywood coming. You can actually kind of hide your turrets behind the trees on point A of Hollywood if you're defending. So it can be hard to see them. But we have so much Winston who just removes her turret so quickly that a key part of Symmetra's kit is nullified pretty much as soon as she walks out of the door. Maybe in a meta where Winston's not such a thing and it's kind of more annoying to deal with those turrets.
I see Golden Boy put turrets there. You know, Golden Boy is Symmetra main when he plays Overwatch.
Yeah, that's it. Take note of Golden Boy who plays. It's console, right? So Symmetra actually a bit stronger on console, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Cool, Matt, just getting some information there, figuring out what the Philadelphia Fusion are going to run. They're going to back up here. So Linkser will be playing the Widowmaker, so when you see Widowmaker in the mix, you see Boink play Mercy, going to get that damage boost onto him. So be able to heal him up. Shadowburn trying to bait him into a shot, maybe a reflect there. So Dayfly started out on Sombra, I believe, now switches over to Zen, and it's going to be Carpe falling at the beginning yet again. So the Devs talked about it, how important it was to, well, Johnny talked about how important it was for Carpe to kill everybody. You know, Sideshow mentioned they needed to contain Carpe.
Wow.
Right now, Houston's doing a very good job of that.
Yeah, that's Lynx's second kill for this fight, and now the Fusion are kind of locked in a position they just don't want to be in. Shadowman hoping, for whatever reason, that Lynx would fire at him while he was trying to reflect. Woohoo! Screenception for you guys.
Oh,
damn.
Oh, here we go.
All right, that's pretty psychedelic. We like a bit of that, don't we, Matt?
I don't know what that is.
I liked it. I want more of that. This game's getting, you know, easier to cast as time goes on. It's getting better.
Let's make it harder by just
trying to intensify the process.
Layering the screens.
That's right. It's like when you get stronger, you put more weights on, Matt. That's the way it works. Now, Shadowburn, he thought about Boink. He sees him off in the distance. Definitely how it works. Linkser backing away. Obviously, Shadowburn getting some good zoning. He's getting in people's faces, but eventually he does get cut down. It was actually Clockwork to chase him. Carpe forced into an early recall. This player is being nullified. His impact is being reduced significantly now by, well, especially Linkser. But in that first half also, this tank played. So frustration must be building for this man on screen.
See if Carpe can pick up one of these kills. Oh, he's going to land a pulse bomb right onto Raucus. That's exactly what the Fusion needed. It's interesting, they go over and they try to take that right side position, Mitch, where we see a lot of teams set up with the Sombra, but Houston's not playing that Sombra on the defensive end, right? So Philadelphia, they get all the way up to that high ground. Linkser just rotates all the way around to the opposite side. Still able to break. Linkser will switch over to Genji now, so no Sombra for point B here for Houston. I think maybe you have Boink. Maybe you're staying on this because Boink just gets his Valkyrie. You want to get a good use of the Valkyrie and then maybe switch up the supports.
Yeah. Pop Valkyrie, get aggressive behind it as the defending team and just try and get a dive or get an early pick and then snowball a fight. It's good for one use of that Valkyrie at the very least. Neptuno though, trying to keep his team spread out, but they're so close together and Dayfly's already taken down. You can see that Muma's already up on that high ground, is forcing Neptuno back. A lot of damage taken by the Fusion there. Many of their players down about half HP, and that's it. That's the kind of idea, right? So you get that first pick. This time it was a bomb used by Clockwork. Perhaps next time it comes in the form of a primal race. Someone gets knocked off. Whatever Houston can commit to these early fights to give them that instant man advantage, they'll be going for.
You'll have the good advantage in terms of ultimates right now. Both support ultimates, the Primal Rage and its self-destruct. Linkser building up closer to that Dragon Blade as well. See Cool Matt just go up top, get some damage down. Muma's gonna go up there, just jump on out.
He took hardly any damage as well, Muma. Despite being in the middle of the enemy team, he still seemed pretty well topped up, and that's both supports taken down already. Nice focus by the Fusion. They've strung the Outlaws along, spread them out, and been able to pick their targets a little bit more comfortably. Shadowman has a Dragon Blade, but there's absolutely no reason to use it right now. Muma has committed so much time into trying to remove him from the situation that he wasn't there to assist the rest of his team. On the point, it's Carpe and Poco right now. The rest of the Outlaws have essentially folded. This isn't the kind of game that they were looking to be playing, I don't think, now with Shadowman still having held that Dragon Blade.
And Muma is still alive. He's got the Mega Health Pack all the way on the opposite side of the map. Coming back, here's Shadowburn with the Blade. Just swiping at Linkser, not able to get much of anything. He actually finishes off Linkser there towards the end. So you get that Genji out of the fight. Cool Matt's going to get D-Mactis. It's looking good for Philly.
Shadowburn now up on the point. Getting healed in, Point can only really step on. So again, in a trend that we've observed over multiple instances of Volskaya this stage, teams have some difficulty defending this one for long stretches of time. Good opening though, and there were a couple of early picks that came in for the Fusion. Both supports having gone down. It was Boykin Bunny. That's when they really managed to crack it open.
Yeah, it seemed like, you know, all the pressure from Houston was being put up on that high ground, right? When the Philadelphia Fusion went up the lift and then gets it up there. But there's nobody from, you know, in terms of DPS from Philadelphia who can do a ton of work from up there, right? You have your Tracer and Genji combination. They go around that bottom left, come up right back on that side, and you know, they assassinate the supports. And then all that, you know, Houston's jumping back towards their point. They're all weak, no support there to clean it up, and then everybody just converges on the point.
And the desk foreshadowed this to a degree as well. They mentioned that for the Houston Outlaws, protecting their supports, although it might seem like a very arbitrary thing to sort of put out in general, but it is true. We really need to keep those two alive, especially given the kind of impact that Raucus especially has. I feel like if you want to take Raucus in one hand and Dayfly in the other, I think it's safe to say that Raucus, over his far more games, to be fair, played, has shown a higher overall impact on his team. Again here, still looking very, very good statistically. There's 5 final blows carrying over from that first half. So, a little bit more time in the bank for the Outlaws here, which means they get to defend first on this second play.
And it'll be the same composition they ran on the defensive end. So you'll have Linkser playing the Widowmaker, just looking on that outskirts.
Not much
Seeing
there,
if anybody's coming. And Boink will be playing the Mercy, just kind of top him up. So now usually we see Mercy in play when there's Widow or Pharah. That usually seems to be the two instances we see Mercy at play. The Philadelphia Fusion going towards that right-hand side yet again.
Lynx are aware, dimly at least, that Carpe is on the hunt over on that left-hand side of the map. He's also got Raucus playing quite close. So between the two of them, there's a lot of threat to a Tracer. Dayfly from across the map catches Lynx around with the Soundwave. This might be the go signal. Movement now realizes he's going to be beset on both sides by tanks and needs to get out. But Clockwork was able to even the score by removing Shadowburn from the equation early in the fight. That might be the relief valve that the Outlaws were looking for, with Poker being deseated and off the map. Dayfly's first pick kind of gets cancelled out. That was a chance, though.
Yeah, it goes for nothing. And you know, a big thing you have when Mercy's in the game as well is Carpe dives into the backline, goes on a Raucus, but Boink's there to just heal him on up. And Carpe was not able to get anything done there, and he has to back out with the rest of his team.
Again, Muma had to worry or wonder, was he out of position? He gets back to the point with about 200 HP. It was dangerous, at the least, for him to be out there, but he did have a jump pack cooldown, so he would always have been able to get out of jail free, as it were. Poker needs to be careful, taking a bit of damage there from Clockwork. He might want to follow up, and Lynx has found Carpe. So again, a lot of the bite has been taken out and just left with the bark on the side of the Fusion.
And that's a sick shot from Linkser. Carpe jumps down, tries to land a pulse bomb onto the backside of Coolmat. Like, as he's jumping down, Linkser lands the headshot. Carpe's pulse bomb goes for nothing there, so be another fight win here for the Houston Outlaws, as both support ultimates online here for the Fusion, but now with the infrasight here from Linkser, they're not going to be able to do much. It's a friendly wave as he's seeing everybody through the wall.
The Fusion now look like might even just wait it out. It'll be very obvious to the Outlaws exactly when the Fusion kind of, you know, start getting that speed boost from that Chuno going and try and sneak in on that right-hand side from this view on Clockwork, so they'll know it's coming. And they do. Well, Pulse Bomb thrown in. Chuno should be able to avoid that now. Follows up with a Sound Barrier just in case anyone was actually stuck by that. And now the Fusion need to make actually some value out of this. Oh, Fraggy going forward. He was on his own, out of position. He does get taken down.
And that wasn't the exact use of the Sound Barrier they would have liked. He actually connects with Dayfly and then just both DPS players. So Fraggy maybe thinks he's going to get hit with that Sound Barrier, jumps on in, thinks he has those extra shields, doesn't get the benefits of them, neither does Poco, and Fraggy drops pretty quick.
He was way ahead of the rest of his team there. Again, it was something we pointed out about Fraggy in stage 1, so he's dying a lot, and if the Fusion aren't able to sort of, I don't know, eke some value out of those instances, then it was a wasted kill. Perhaps a bit of a throwback.
So maybe what the Fusion could do here is you have Carpe getting close to that pulse bomb. Maybe you connect on a Raucus. He uses that Transcendence. Then you have Shadowburn with his blade. But no point A on Balsky. It's so spread out. How many kills is he going to get with the blade? Maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, tough. Unless all the enemy are up on the point for him now. Well, no, on this occasion now, Alex is starting to fire up.
Yeah,
both
they won't be doing
DPS.
what I said.
Oh, God. No, I feel like that's
No,
unlikely at this point. And now you're getting a bit worried, aren't you, Dayfly? You're next, Neptuno. Rack him up and knock him down. It's the Lynx away from start to finish. Oh, I live for it. I live for it.
It's just so nasty. As Linkser right now, 51% scoped accuracy, 10% crit hits, 17 limbs, 9 final blows, having a very good game on Widowmaker. Carpe will play Widowmaker now for the Philadelphia Fusion as they switch things up a little bit. But the infrared sight comes in again from Linkser, so now they're going to have to either decide to just go in knowing where knowing that Houston's going to know where they're coming from, or they're going to have to wait this out.
Okay, they're going to go out to the right-hand side, but Clockwork, look, he's trying to get in around back behind the supports. That's the ticket. The pulse bomb to remove Neptuno, and the fact of the matter is, with Linkster doing so much damage, it's very hard for the Fusion to do anything under the guise of secrecy. They always can see them through the walls. Wall hacks OP.
And the Mercy comes up huge there for the Houston Outlaws as Raucus falls with his Transcendence point, just jumps right up, gets that easy resurrection when Muma takes out Carpe.
All right, once again, here comes the fight. Muma already going in. He's going to head over the back, and you can see the wireframe of him just belting people in Primal Rage. Shadowburn, again, not really getting allowed to play Overwatch today, and nor is Fraggy. One shot to the head will be enough to deal with the Winston. And Poco sneaks himself onto the point, so there needs to be a bit of a backpedal here, but that's fine. There's 4 Houston Outlaw players here, and Poco doesn't even make it to the high ground. He gets zapped, removed from his mech, and that'll be it. The Houston Outlaws look so much better on this map, Matt. It's not even funny.
And Shadowburn never gets to use his Dragon Blade. He's being pushed out by Muma. He gets so low. Dayfly pops Transcendence, but Shadowburn just a little bit outside of it. Doesn't get the effects. Falls when he has that blade. So you never get a use of that Dragon Blade there for the Philadelphia Fusion. Would have liked to have that ult.
This has been a very good map for Clockwork in general, Matt. You saw him there on a couple of occasions. With the use of the Infrasight, he can identify instances which he can put himself in between the backline of the Fusion and their tanks. You see him get in there with a pulse bomb. He's blowing up Mercies. He's getting on that support line, really getting involved in the fight, which is great to see. And the Outlaws, again, looking to cut above.
And, you know, Clockwork had a up and down stage 1. I think that would be fair to say. You know, some games he looked really good. Some games he definitely didn't, you know, look up to par. But I feel like his performance in stage 2 thus far from what we've seen has been very good. You know, the guy has insane mechanical skill, right? You know, just the aim, just the movement is all there. The guy is just sick in that regard. Now they put him, Houston, you know, speaking about the Outlaws, you know, coaches and management, in positions where they know he will succeed on maps like this.
And in all fairness, you know, the fact is that Linkster and Clockwork combined have been managing Carpe very well. That guy has not been able to put himself into a position where he could sort of dictate the flow of play. He often has to react to what the Outlaws have been throwing at him, and it's been tough. Dayfly's had a good game so far, Matt. Still got those 4 final blows on him, so the long-range picks are going to be very necessary for the Fusion to try and shut down the Outlaws here. 6 minutes on the attack, Matt. A lot of time.
And all they have to do is get 1 tick on point A, so you can see that little golden arrow top of your screen by point A. That's only the amount of progress that Houston needs to get to finish off this game.
Already they're on the point of Carpe. Oh, it just gets blown to smithereens there. Clockwork following up with Cool Matt, the OG duo on this team, Matt. And now with Raucus out of the picture, it doesn't really seem to slow things down too much, but that's Dayfly once again gets involved. He's found Clockwork consistently, despite being in a losing match, has been playing well, but Lynx is there. Shadowburn can't do too much. The flash, of course, on the accuracy, and it's more than just a flash in the pair for the Outlaws, Matt, because they're not done. This would be over pretty darn quickly, and it is. The Outlaws should be confident in taking this point. It was just a recall, and there it is. We wondered, what would this match look like, Matt? Will it be as close as we had hoped? This is not a good start at all for the Fusion.
And the Houston Outlaws tanks yet again. I feel like, you know, we talk about it so much, but they are so good. They rarely ever get outplayed. You know, Cool Matt and Muma in this game combined for 45 eliminations, 14 final blows, only 6 deaths.
1-0 so far in this series in Volskaya. Well, there's no other team it could have gone to with this kind of play. You see Poco there. Hindsight is 2020. Would have loved to have had that defense matrix a little bit earlier on. We're going to head into the second map, ladies and gentlemen, just after the break. Don't go anywhere. Let's hope this one has legs.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
I'm Linkser, I play DPS for Houston Outlaws.
Can't be disappointed with Linkser's performance. The man just seems to stand out on every front. 6 shots from Linkser.
And Linkser finds Carpe as well. Now this is just getting gross.
The reason why I chose DPS is because I enjoy playing aggressively. I like outplaying my opponents, and I think DPS is one of the roles you can do that the most.
Linkser couldn't have better sightlines if he was mind controlling these supports. They seem to go wherever he wants them to.
I think the goal for Outlaws is to be considered a threat. You can't be like playing us down or underestimating us. You have to be prepared.
Linkser pops off right there.
Both supports dead.
Houston seems like a team that's on the rise.
The fans out there, just keep looking out for me. I'll be improving throughout the season, and I'm gonna be one of the best.
I'll be honest with you, Linkser, it's kind of hard to miss you with the way that you're playing at the moment, mate. Fantastic first map. Predominantly Shadowburn, you know, getting hammered down by his Widowmaker. Also, you saw Carpe just struggle, so you can see. Oh man, look, I'm trying to paint it in a way that didn't seem as grisly as it was, but
it's not good for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Your boys out there just clicking heads. I'm going to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, I mean,
really
Linkser just dominating, as we see him do most of the time. Some subs from both teams, so it'll be Dayfly moving out for the Philadelphia Fusion, Boombox coming in, and then Jake will come in for Clockwork, which is something we definitely expected. There's Jake, if you don't already know him.
Yeah, that's what Jake, that's what Jake looks like, by the way. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's Jake. That is Boombox as well.
Yeah.
If you can't tell.
Young Isaac. Obviously representing the United Kingdom, coming in now here for the Philadelphia Fusion. And in all honesty, it's good to see Boombox sort of come back in here, but Dayfly definitely wasn't, I wouldn't say a huge issue for the Fusion in that previous match there. You could see he actually had some really important kills. A lot of the time he was shutting down DPSs, you know, across the map. Obviously, we saw a couple of those kills, Linkser went down. And also, you know, he was able to control Clockwork. But again, there definitely seemed to be so many of these windows, Matt, where the Fusion was split in half, and players from the Outlaws just got in between and made life hard.
For me, it's Houston has a play style that I think other teams would probably say is, you know, pretty predictable. They know what's going to, they know how Houston generally is going to play on a lot of these maps. It's just Houston is so solid in the way they do it, and we rarely say, like, you know, when you watch the games too, you rarely see like, oh, like a bad support ult use from the Houston Outlaws, or Moomer or Cool Matt out of position and dropping early. Like, you rarely ever see that. They just play like so smart and so like safe, and they play the percentages so well. And I think that's why you see them have this consistent success game after game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Carpe get roasted right at the start of the Fusion's defense when Cool Matt and Moomer, it was actually Clockwork, and Cool Matt just ran him down immediately. The slightest positioning error is something that the Houston Outlaws are going to be punishing. But now, of course, as we head over towards Nepal, definitely going to see a lot more focus on playing around the point. Now, this is also a map where the Fusion, it's going to be a little bit harder to stagger them out. They're going to come in as 6, right? The idea, of course, is definitely to bring all your best tools to the party and make the most of them. So I feel like the Fusion definitely have an opportunity to get themselves back in the mix here. But Tracer players galore, of course, going to love this map.
The Fusion have a roster that I feel like could give the Houston Outlaws some trouble, and it's one in that if Philadelphia can play fast, force Houston to split up a little bit, make it more of a scrappy brawler game that, you know, favors people with like high mechanical skill, right? Where they can just kind of solo 1v1 players all the time.
This is what Carpe does.
Right, that is the type of game the Philadelphia Fusion want to get the Houston Outlaws into.
I think that, yeah, the Fusion want to get Carpe in a position where he can just go find a Linkser or a Jake, or, you know, remove one of these DPSs on his own, and the rest of the Fusion can collapse.
I love this. We've seen this in the past.
It's El Presidente, baby!
And I wonder if the Philadelphia Fusion going to be aware of this, and Jake comes down top. This is a strategy we saw, I think, back at World Cup 2016. We saw some teams run on this point where you get the Bastion up top, you have that Reinhardt shield. So hard to play against, and obviously, no, Bastion has had some buffs since then.
Yes, well, he doesn't have a shield in front of him. I mean,
no, not anymore.
That's the first time we actually saw this this strat. Oh, Raucous, he thought about that one body grenade. Look at all the resources being dedicated to keeping Jake alive, and it's working! Oh, it's working! Cool Matt's found Fraggy there. So much damage being done because the focus of the Fusion is solely on Jake, who's just getting healed and shielded, and the rest of the Outlaws are doing work. You can't be expecting this.
Jake puts down, what? Puts down like almost 1,000 damage there in the first like a few seconds of the game, just pummeling through players.
Just a casual 805. That's cool.
Yeah,
no worries.
Pretty solid start as Linkser Well, the Bastion, you have to put so much focus on Bastion, right? We kind of like joke around, like you have to focus him down so hard, both teams, that allows Linkser to just kind of like run around, do as he pleases on Tracer, right? It just opens up so many lanes for this guy.
This splits up the Outlaws though, because Jake's playing on the high ground. It's going to be a nano boost to Bastion. He's going to drop down. Now with a cannon just banging away, but no one really giving him sight lines. Didn't think about, of course, going for the tank configuration because it's just a waste of extra damage. You're kind of one-shotting everyone anyway, for the most part. And again, it's so hard to come back into this map when there's a Bastion that's set up. It really cuts down your avenues of approach. I like the idea of trying to use Carpe to draw players from the Outlaws back onto the point, but it wasn't enough in that instance.
Well, you just see the main choke points that Philadelphia has to go through. They're just so wide open, and without your own shield, it's very difficult. Even if you had your own shield, it's just going to get broken instantly by Bastion. You see Fraggy just trying to stay alive. Works all the way around. So I feel like this is probably their best approach as Boombox falls early, so probably not anymore. But you just have to kind of get on both sides of the Bastion, right? Make him look so many different directions. Jake gonna heal himself up after he takes out Shadowbird. Yeah. You're gonna see configuration tank come out now.
Batten hatches, ladies and gentlemen. A bit more of a deterrent than anything else. Jake just wants to push forward. You see he's gonna benefit from the speed boost of Boink. And I've used this phrase before, but playing Bastion on maps like this can feel like playing cello in a marching band, right? You need to set up, then go back into recon, then set up again, time and time again.
Oh, there you go. So Coolmat is now spotted Fraggy, who's stuck on top of the building. He's going to have to back out as... Now we talk what Jake has done on Bastion, but Linkser now, leads them in eliminations in Final Blood.
What is this?
Everything he can.
This is so gross, Houston. You can't do that. Sitting in the corner, just shielding the Bastion, waiting for the Fusion to come in. They know what's waiting for them and have no choice but to face the music. Oh, Carpe squished up against the wall. Jake was dealt with in that fight, though, so there might be an opening and opportunity here. Muma, swing and hammer for the fence, in fact, and Fraggy cops one here, straight to the kisser. Charge out. Oh, Muma could have had one, but Boombox is there to receive him. Good control by Boombox. 2 kills are decent in this fight. Headshots on both Linkser and Muma. And the Philadelphia Fusion, they seen the cheese, now they're bringing the steak.
It looked dangerous there for a while for Philadelphia. It looked like they were not going to be able to break that setup. Now, Muma, I thought, landed a pretty nice shatter, but I actually thought he was really trying to get Shadowburn with that shatter. They knew he had Blade. If you would have gotten Shadowburn in that Earth Shatter, Houston probably would have won this point already.
Well, as it stands, the Fusion have an opportunity now to hang on, but really only one fight is all they have. Shadowburn taking way too much damage from that. Linkser just adds a bit more in. Muma, of course, just killing it right now. Pushing in. The melee finish on Neptuno, and this guy continues to impress us all. He can just walk onto the point himself now. There's only Boombox and Carpe and Poco up on the high ground, and they can't even get here. Carpe's going to drop down and try and deliver, but again, it's just him against the world. But Boombox and Poco have won their conflict on that higher ground. They can now drop down and assist. Linkser goes down. And it looks like it was to his own pulse bomb, in fact, so that's not what you want at this stage of the game. Jake will be cut down. Bunny Blaster, though, for Poco doesn't find his mark. He's actually taken down by Muma, who's coming in from the other side. Now the Outlaws have an opportunity to open things up, and Shadowbird's angry. It doesn't matter if you're angry, because he's back in spawn.
Yeah, it'll be Fraggy using Primal Rage. Thought he needed to stay up. He's actually just going to kind of just batter Jake into the corner here. Coolmat's on the point, though, right now, so when Fraggy's putting all his pressure, Coolmat was on the point. He's able to take out Boombox. Not going to be able to finish Neptuno, going to go for a ride off the side of the map. So Philadelphia will be able to hold on. Boombox is going to get close to another Transcendence for this next fight. So both support ults going to be alive for Philadelphia. And you're going to have that Dragon Blade. So you saw Attack Visor and Pulse Bomb used there for the Houston Outlaws. And supports make some changes, so not going to have either of their ults either.
This has been such a fun map, man. I'm super hyped for this. Now the Fusion, though, at least have themselves a foundation to build off of, but losing Boombox so early in the fight could prove to be fatal. They do get a sound barrier, and it's applied to 5 people, so every remaining player from the Fusion had that, but now it's expired. Now the real work has to happen. Carpe doesn't actually execute the Pulse Bomb as well as he would otherwise have liked, and now he needs to run away! Linkser in hot pursuit! Carpe didn't have a recall available, and the Outlaws can group up on towards the point here pretty comfortably. Shadowburn's half HP. He has a blade, but he's too low to really go for it. Raucous Coalescence gets some early damage on the point now. Try and force people away. Those shields don't mean anything when he's Kamehameha'ing his way through it. Sound barrier for the Outlaws now. And it's retake here for the Fusion. They get the point back. But how long will that last? Shadowman hopes it will be longer. Dragonblade, but the recall was there again. Not the best target to go for in the Tracer. And Linkser comes back, gets his revenge. It was a flashy show from Shadowburn, but ultimately it proved yielded no results. Poco, all of his defense matrix being used just to keep him alive, but that's not going to be enough. It's 99 to 99, and I don't think there's anywhere from the Fusion that are going to get here. That's going to be the round. That is some sick Overwatch.
Linkser connects with a pulse bomb, I believe, onto Neptuno, and he also drops Boombox as well, so he's able to take out both supports as Shadowburn's using that Dragon Blade. Jake cleans up some kills, finishing off Fraggy and Carpe towards the end with that Tac Visor, but the play from Muma, he's able to just get in, use that Primal Rage originally to like start that fight. They force the sound barrier out early, he jumps all the way back. The guy is just, I'm starting to agree with Sideshow, where I think he may be playing the main tank role at the highest level in the league right now.
And on that note, perhaps a contrast to that, Carpe has one final blow, 4 deaths. He has been shut down on this map. That Tracer, of course, is his go-to. So far, it's not yielded any result, but now the Shadowbird to come in.
It's clear, though, if you shut down Carpe, what else is Philadelphia really giving you, right? I mean, it seems like a really simple way to think about the game, but no, he is so impactful for this Philadelphia Fusion lineup. You see when you focus him down and you really try and put a lot of pressure on him, you're able to do a nice job containing him, what you're able to do against Philly.
Philly having their options stripped away from them now, and Linksa fancies just to wake up the monkey. Fraggy now aware that he's again been revealed. That would have been sick. Helix Rocket aimed in the direction of Shadowburn. For nothing else, it's just to alter his trajectory. And now just with them. Oh, Linksa, that's not what you want! Shadowburn, nicely done. Concussive Blast to send Linksa into the abyss.
Yeah, and he's right behind that Orisa shield, and Shadowburn knocks that concussive right onto Linksa. Pretty much like that. Just like that. He's just a little bit too close to the edge. Goes off the side, and see Shadowburn just doing a ton of damage building up towards that rocket barrage. Has the Mercy pocket as well.
So Jake.
Triple tank here.
Yeah, you're gonna get the road. It's worked again! Oh dear, Muma now falling. And that's got to it for the Outlaws. They've got to really back away, especially not being in control of the point to start with here. This is going to start to make them feel a little bit under pressure so far.
And there's a lot of nice spots for Pharah on this point to just kind of glide up where Shadowburn is right now and just have a lot of cover, right? Just peeking over the top. It's so difficult for Linksa to land enough shots in a quick succession, even with a Dragon Blade, to take him out, because, you know, he does still have that Mercy pocket as well.
Jake now wants to flank around. One hook could pretty much decide the fight if he finds the correct target. Now that the barrage, that's a pretty good one! I think it's safe to say Shadowhead finds himself 3, including 2 supports, and for the rest of the Outlaws, it's Geronimo!
So, you know, on my mini-map, I actually saw him, like, land a boost to himself and go over the top of that archway by the bridge, and I was like, oh, he's gonna rocket barrage any second. Comes right down on top of both supports, and Linksa, who is trying to, you know, push up onto that bridge. As this looks real good for Philadelphia thus far. It'll be both support ultimates now for the Houston Outlaws, and they'll have a Tac Visor. It's just how much value can get you out of this stuff.
Matt, you asked what the Fusion have when Carpe isn't performing well, and it seems that Shadowburn is up to the task to step in and fill those shoes. Linksa now with a tactical visor. Yeah, and Shadowbird's going to struggle to get away from that one, but good barrier being thrown down here. Now the pressure coming on. Nothing really achieved for that Soldier 76 ultimate, and Linksa spoiled for choice in terms of targets. That's a very cheeky resurrecting from Neptuno to put Carpe back into the battle, but it may not be enough. Frankie's already been removed by Jake to anti-tank action of the Roadhog, really making it hard for him to stick onto the point.
Yeah, and they ended up using their Transcendence here, did the Philadelphia Fusion. It'll be a self-destruct as well, used on the point by Coolmad. He will take out Poco. Return, he will fall at the hands of Shadowburn as Houston is taking the point. They do have Jake here to contest underneath, right?
That's the hook!
Large HP with Roadhog, should be able to stay alive for quite a long time. Here's a whole hog, just trying to knock Fraggy back.
Yeah, that's nice. Jake knows he has to stay safe because he can't do any healing while he's using the whole hog. It's a channel ability, and it's quite easy just to walk out with the whole hog and kind of die while you're doing that. Clever play.
And it was really smart in the last fight just to backtrack a little bit. Houston knows they have the man advantage. They know they have Jake able to stay alive on the point. Raucus gets in a 1v1 and just dies without using his Transcendence. A lot of other Zens may have popped that to keep themselves alive, get to the point. Now they still have that Transcendence in their back pocket to use when they really need it.
Well, Jake popped his Tac Visor against Birdring in the 1v1 last, towards the end of the stage. That was quite funny. But Coolmat's removed Fraggy, and again, Shadowburn is hunting. Last minute or so has been a little bit quieter for him as he's had to sort of, you know, duck away from a lot of these tactical visors. Speaking of which, there's another one in play. Linksa once again goes for that ultimate. Shadowburn knows he can't peek out. Get himself some bird feed in the form of a health pack and return to the fray. The boombox is already down.
Now they're going to use the Transcendence here, just trying to keep themselves up when there's not a lot of pressure coming in from Philadelphia. It's Houston still in control of the point. Fraggy and Shadowburn here underneath. Shadowburn will get taken out. You imagine Fraggy to drop here rather quickly. It's not looking good for Philadelphia.
Poco just got to get him out. You saw Shadowburn there as well. He died rather quickly because one of his rockets' splash damage was reflected into him, and then he suffered the damage from Coolmat charging into him.
And I wonder if Houston just pushes up here towards the entranceway. Okay, so they force out that Transcendent very early, and now they're going to use that Primal Rage trying to knock some players off the side.
Dangerous Moon was hoping to send the Zenyatta over the edge, but Boombox was too canny for that when he stayed back. Coolmat once again chasing down Shadowburn, and it looks like finally the Outlaws have the bird under the thumb, or the bird in hand perhaps. Now moving a step back. Looking to just try and peel a little bit. There's a Primal Rage Winston though, so there's not much he can really do about it. And with Poco moving to the point, Pulse Bomb claims Coolmat. Now another tactical visor. Raucus comes forward just to exacerbate that with the Transcendence in play. Carpate found Coolmat's back with a Pulse Bomb, and Lynx is there. Carpate's removed. Oh, I saw that. Poco copped one in midair. Does finally go down, and the Outlaws have got it. Oh, okay. Guess who's getting loud? Lynx is normally one of the quietest, the most polite people outside of the game. Has been told to sit down. Getting a bit excited, and why not? The Outlaws are just showing us another level right now.
I mean, Lynx has just been dominant the first 2 maps. 26 limbs, 14 final blows. It's Houston, man, they look so good here against Philadelphia.
You know, and Monty's already made his apology to Houston fans for writing him off, and now, of course, they're continuing to deliver. 2 maps already in the bag for them here, setting themselves up for what could be a 4-0 against the only team in the Overwatch League to have won both their matches 4-0 so far. It's going to be a great series. We'll see how much of it is left, though, after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
It's been all Outlaws so far as Houston takes a dominating 2-0 lead into the half. Welcome back, everybody. It's all Houston so far on the main stage, but you're stuck with us here on the desk. It's Puckett joined by Sideshow and Reinforced once again. And we got a lot to talk about. Coming into this match, I was hyping it up. I said, this could be the best match of all of Stage 2. Not so much so far. It's been a one-sided affair.
Yes. It really should have been one of the best matches of Stage 2, I think, because Philadelphia Fusion looked so great coming into it. They made a couple of changes, brought Dayfly in, brought Shadowburn in. Maybe that's messed with some of their cohesion, but I think it's also Houston playing so well.
Can we start, though, with the positives here? And that's the Bastion. A Bastion came into play, and no, he doesn't have a shield, but he's still effective some of the time.
Yeah, I love the fact that Houston Outlaws feel so confident about this game and how they're playing the counter strategies that they can just run Jake on the Bastion in these situations. I remember people running this ages ago, Johnny. You used to run this.
Yeah, back in my day, when I was a pro gamer in Overwatch, we actually used to beat Tyrong's team. He used to coach AF Blue, of course, over in Korea, and we used to, Tvik likes to play the Bastion, so back in Rogue, Tvik pull it out and beat
So what you're saying
team.
is
yeah.
Houston Outlaws are just catching up to you guys
Exactly.
back in 2016.
We were so ahead of our time 2 years ago.
I don't believe that for a moment.
Tyrong the
I like
coach
to
is
believe
going
it.
through his diaries. He's like, Reinforce used the tank on us today. Today we'll use it against Philadelphia. All right, Philly, they fell short, but they were pretty close in the control maps. Can we start here, guys? Because I'm watching it downstairs, and I'm wondering what's going wrong. What's the difference maker here? Why weren't they able to close out the control rounds, and why were they struggling so much against the Bastion to begin with?
I think they're a bit too passive and a bit too slow. So that gives Houston so much time to react and punish the enemy mistakes. We saw Coolmat repeatedly just killing Shadowburn. And it's because Philadelphia, they're kind of slow and tentative. Not the Philadelphia we saw last weekend. So Houston, they've said before that they like to punish mistakes, and they're getting really good at it. And we saw that here today.
Yeah, they need to get this confidence back, I think. That's really all it is that they need to play at the higher tempo. Like you were saying at the beginning of the game, they need to play high tempo if they want to be able to win this one. At the moment, Houston have got all the room they need. Muma and Coolmat are just playing with them at this point. They're toying with them like kittens and mice.
Muma looks like he's having a great time. So does Linkster. If you guys were watching Volskaya, he was just running people down as Widowmaker, grappling right after him. And he just feels like there's no pressure on this man. When you're watching the past, so many Philly dives were coming in. Linkster just has free reign.
And I love this strategy. They're bringing back the Mercy. She took a bit of a hit, and we haven't seen Mercy play as much. But still, they're forcing Philadelphia to dive onto the Mercy and the Widowmaker. And they're putting so much emphasis on Linkster. And if you want to dive on top of Linkster on this point, I mean, it is quite a distance. So it takes so much time, so much effort to reach Linkster in the first place, that the team around him, in Muma, in Coolmat, in Clockwork, they got so much room and space to actually win the fights for them.
And I think when we look at how these two teams are tackling the head-to-head matchup, I'd like to see Philadelphia Fusion's DPS of Carpe and Shadowburn focus more on taking out Clockwork. Because when or rather, whoever's playing that Tracer for them, they're subbed in Jake for Nepal. And so when they see the Tracers trying to set up these wide flanks or trying to like pin people into position, they can just send both of their DPS and pick them off. This is what they did so well against Striker from the Boston Uprising. He was previously a guy that we were talking about as one of the best Tracers in the league. And they bullied him. They just shut him down in every fight. So they could do the same to Jake or Clockwork.
Yeah, you look back at that matchup, Philly walked away with all 4 wins when they went up against Boston. They totally shut down the Tracer. Today, it feels like the DPS is doing what they want for the Houston Outlaws, but so are the tanks. What are we seeing from Muma and Coolmat? Because you're highlighting these guys coming into today.
Yes, for me, Muma has been playing on another level again today, along with Coolmat. And the guy has just got so much space to do what he wants. I think Philadelphia Fusion are so intent on getting into Linkster and the supports in the backline that Muma has all the opportunity. He needs to jump in and out of these fights, completely wreck their backline all the time. And I thought that Philadelphia might realize that Muma goes for these individual plays and try and put a load of poke onto him really early in the fight. A lot of damage, but they just haven't.
Well, because of the way he plays as well, he likes to flank around and tries to hide around corners and stuff. So there's so much effort behind finding Muma in the first place and actually
like
shut
a
it down.
hide-and-seek game.
Exactly.
Where's Wally?
So if you want to find Muma, it's gonna take so much time away from the actual time to cap the objective. So it's not really a valid strategy, and I mean, just credit to Muma for playing so well and playing to his niche.
Let's talk on the other side for Philadelphia Fusion. You're not out of this match. You're down 0-2, but you could bring it back, force a Game 5 tiebreaker. Who needs to step up for this squad? Who's playing well? Who needs to go to the next level?
Well, it comes back to the tempo question. We have some stats. We can actually compare the two Genjis on Philadelphia. And it comes back to tempo, playing faster and shutting down Houston, not giving them so much room. So we have some stats here from the Genjis. We can actually compare the two styles. So we can see, looking at these stats overall, you can see that Shadowburner is almost twice the amount of time holding his Dragon Blade, of course, and not getting value. So it just speaks to how passive he is and how he wants to play a more safer game, unlike EQO.
Yes, and you have to take these stats with a little bit of a caveat, as in EQO came off 2 big wins. Shadowburn's had 2 map losses so far, and so the stats are naturally slanted the other way. But I think what you're trying to point out is more of a stylistic match, right? It's a big difference between these two Genji players. And Shadowburn has to play more aggressive, I think. Like, he needs to get that confidence back, because I think if you give time for Houston to punish him, he will get punished in the end. Like, Mumura will find him, and they will shut him down. But if he just goes in aggressive and believes in the rest of his team being able to keep him up with the heals, with the tank, with like the distraction from Carpe, I think he's going to get a lot more work done.
We've seen Neptuno playing on that Lucio for the support for game 1. It was Dayfly filling in. We saw a little Sombra play from him, and then went to Boombox Zenyatta for Nepal. What do you want to see on the support side of things for Philadelphia moving forward?
I like Boombox on Zenyatta. I think he holds really way further back than all of the rest of his team. Makes it more difficult for Muma to be able to dive him, because that takes him so far out of the fight. So coming into Hollywood, that's the kind of style I want to see from Philadelphia. The rest of their team, very aggressive. Boombox, pretty passive.
Yes, and he's so good at finding those picks as well. We know Boombox to be one of those guys that just charges up his right clicks and just fires away 5 orbs and get the pick. So more of that I'd like to see.
Philadelphia needs to switch things up. They need to come back firing in the second half if they want to make this one close. Before we go here for halftime, real quick shout out to everyone here in our front row. This little man with the sign has been fired up all day long. We'll see. Can Houston close it out? One more game to go. Hollywood is coming up next after the break.
Hi, Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
The Houston Outlaws are up 2-0 on the Philadelphia Fusion. Right now, the green wall is looking mighty impenetrable at this moment. I got a question for all you guys out there in the Twitch chat, though. Would you consider a Bastion strat like the one we saw just now at Nepal? Would you consider that a good strat or disrespect? You guys let me know in the chat when you're done with all those try-hard emotes. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and send it over to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Well, I don't know about you guys at home, Matt, but I would call that strat Nepali, to be honest. Absolutely Nepali.
That was a good
Don't want to see it anymore. Cheesy as heck, but it also enabled me to have a bit of fun and see just how the Philadelphia Fusion try to break that comp, because obviously it is very, it's super threatening.
It's difficult to break, right? I mean, you have that Reinhardt shield get onto the point, the Bastion jump right down there with him. There will be no subs coming into the next map. It'll be Hollywood coming up. If this was King's Row, probably, for Houston, you would have saw Spree come in to play that Zarya. So this is one that will keep that lineup the same.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a map. In fact, the last time I remember seeing this map was actually Team USA, which, no coincidence, there are quite a few members of Team USA on the Outlaws roster playing this one over the World Cup. This was actually one of their best maps, and they looked really good. So, the writing's on the wall now for the Fusion. They've got to come up with something new, or at least something that can actually take their opponents by surprise. And, I mean, when you look at a team like the Outlaws, they look so well-read, they look so prepared for every potential eventuality. And you can see, right, like if you see a match like this where, a team has to step up like the Fusion and Carpe's not able to do so, it's got far more to do than what Houston are doing to him than the fact that he's just not having a good day.
Exactly. Houston is finding Carpe and, he's trying to dive in with Fraggy, or maybe he's playing back on the Widowmaker, and they're just going at him full force, and then they're just worried about everybody else after that. Like, maybe you need Shadowburn, or whether it's Hoko on Diva, to get a little bit more aggressive, put some pressure, really make it hurt when they try and dedicate so many players to get Carpe out of the game.
Shaman OP, Houston Outlaws definitely have all the right cards to deal with the Fusion so far in this match. We'll see. Boomer again, not going to be playing Symmetra, but we can actually have a look at the Philadelphia Fusion, their lineup here. Moira in the mix early on, which
very
is
good on this map.
Yeah,
she's pretty good in this initial portion of the map when we get towards that streets phase going all the way through. She's not exactly great, right? She excels in like close choke areas, and I feel like right here on this first point, it's great, right? She can get a lot of value out of whether it's healing or the damage orbs through the choke. I know you can play inside of the cafe and just kind of spray out onto the point and just heal everybody up from a pretty safe spot as well.
Houston Outlaws, arguably one of the absolute strongest teams in the Overwatch League right now, only really falling flat in the Stage 1 playoffs to London. Now looking to continue and extend that lead. Let's jump in now to Hollywood. They're on the attacking side, and they're going to be bringing Lisa on the Genji here. Jake on that Tracer, going to go for a bit of dive.
And we talk about how strong this Houston Outlaws team is, and how good they were in Stage 1, whatnot. It's like, if Linkstar plays against Seoul, I mean, that match already goes to 3-2. They may win that match, and they may be like sitting at the overall top of the standings right now. They're going to get Fraggy out first. Got a little bit too low, tried to dive back to his support, didn't make it out alive.
I mean, that discipline from Coolmat, who did most of the damage to Fraggy. He saw when Fraggy jumped away, he backed off, let his DPS capitalize and follow up on the damage he'd already done. He paved the way for the Outlaws to make a huge start here. And for the time being, it's looking good. They go one tick, the Outlaws do. Coolmat's now been de-suited and will fall down. At least the Fusion can able to spring back into action. Off the back of their DPS is really getting a lot done. And after the fight, a lot of ultimates coming up for the Philadelphia Fusion here.
Yeah, a lot of damage being done, obviously, by Carpe and Shadowburn, but Boombox as well, and that Moira already with that ult Coalescence, you can charge it so fast, putting down a good amount of damage, and the healing done. Boombox already over 2k healing. They're just one fight.
Shadowburn has pretty much Jake and Lynx's damage put together so far at this stage in the game, so that's quite a lot. Dragonblade drawn out by Shadowburn actually only finds one kill, but he gets a second dash on the Void to finish off the job. There it is. That's what we want to see. The Fusion like to be aggressive, so let's see them take initiative on the defense and actually really try and, catch Houston when they're on the wrong foot.
Instead of diving down there from Shadowbird, he actually sees that healing orb coming up from Boombox, bounce off that high wall, and then stays up top, and then uses a little bit of the healing there to get himself topped off and then go back down. So really neat play there. Obviously, some players still figure out how to play around Moira, right? Such a new hero added to the mix.
Here's the dive. The Outlaws look like they're serious this time. Sound Barrier's also been dispatched. Raucus doesn't have it, but the rest of the team do. Oh no! They found the DPS players huddling together. Carpe and Shadowburn Conspiratorial look like They were trying to come up with an option or response, but the Outlaws found them and removed them.
Well, Philly backed out when the sound barrier came in because they expected the dive to come through, and then somebody on Houston realized that Carpe and Shadowbird did not get all the way in the back of the cafe with them, that they were split off. So they ended up just going the other way, taking out both DPS players. It'll be a coalescence here. It'll force out Transcendence coming out from Raucus as Linkster's using his Dragon Blade, trying to cut through some players. He's able to connect with Neptuno.
Takes one for the time being. It looks like Fraggy still fancies a bit of a chase down, but he put himself behind enemy lines. Carpe, again, he was the one who killed himself. Trying to shoot towards Linkster, who was on the reflect at the time, and now Shadowburn is just clinging on to dear life. Muma, absolutely no mercy. And that'll be it. The Outlaws here really starting to build up ahead of steam. A lot of ultimates committed to that fight, though. You did see how chaotic it looked. Dragon Blades were put in there. Coalescence was used by Boombox. He's now switched over to the Zenyatta from the Moira.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why you invested the Coalescence there. You're going to switch off anyway. We talked about how Moira is not great towards the second part of this map. And then that probably gives them at least, what, 2 more fights? They can get a fight here at this corner, and then if they lose that, they get another fight probably, barely coming out the spawn door.
Oh, Fraggy had to go for the Mega Health Pack there. He was so low, he's forced to use his Primal Rage. Let's see if he can actually get some value out of it. Shadowburn, again, as soon as he pulls the blade, he goes into Reflect. It's kind of his anti-Zenyatta response, hoping that Raucus tries to unload on him. But it cuts down his potential DPS from that ability. He gets Boink, and that should be sufficient in this case, but we're actually starting to see a behavior pattern come out from him when he goes for the blade.
But that lost fight is kind of okay for Houston because you're going to have Transcendence, most likely going to get Sound Barrier here. You have a self-destruct. Jake was trying to go behind enemy lines. He actually gets dropped there behind Neptuno. And you're also going to have a blade, so some good ultimates online here for the Houston Outlaws. See if they can just combo them, put it together for a winning fight. If you're Philadelphia now, you kind of think about this fight, you know how many ults Houston has. You want them to get to waste as many as you can, so you come back out of the gates with maybe 1 more defense before point B, and you have an ultimate advantage in that fight.
Yeah. Jake, taking a while to get fired up here, man. He's had a bit of a quiet start here on this Tracer. Again, a Pulse Bomb doesn't really find what he was looking for. So, again, he's got a fair bit less damage than the rest of the DPS here, so he hasn't quite found his marks yet. But Linkster, contrasting, getting a huge amount of final blows already in this game. So 7 for him, 2 deaths. Looking super confident, man. What can this guy not play? That's just it. You know, he features that sort of same hero pool as Baby Bay, but really seems to take over matches twice as often.
Yeah, he's just a phenomenal player. One of the standouts we have in the league thus far. So you did get Houston to use their Sound Barrier in their Dragon Blade there. Muma getting very close to a Primal Rage. Gonna try and knock players back in that left doorway. You can see his little outline through the wall. He will eventually fall, just trying to knock players back. Coolmat using his self-destruct. That'll have the Transcendence come out. Doesn't help you there, though, as both tanks fall.
It was so telegraphed, man. The Fusion had so much notice there was going to be a self-destruct at the point, and they still walked straight into it. But Shadowburners might be here to rescue the day. This is what he does. His team gets at a man disadvantage and he goes for the blade. Almost finishes off Lisa, trying to chase him down. Found him with a wayward Shuriken. And Shadowburn comes out with 3 kills from that fight. Not a moment too soon here for the Fusion, just to stem the bleeding, if not for just a moment.
Yeah, as soon as Shadowburn saw Raucus use the Transcendence, he actually went on top of the jail, just farmed a little bit more, got his ultimate as soon as that Transcendence was about to wear off. That's where you saw him pop that Dragon Blade. The bite to get pretty low here as Muma tries to force him back. Nice follow-up, though, by Poco. I talked about in the pregame, you needed Poco and Shadowburn to get it more aggressive, start picking up some kills, getting in the face of the Outlaws, doing it here so far in Hollywood.
Yeah, Muma was hoping to capitalize on Shadowburn overextending to try and chase Linkster down. But cleverly, Shadowburn backed away. I mean, he's not the kind of guy that's prone to flights of fancy, is Shadowburn. He's very calculated. So Muma tries to follow up. Couldn't even get the 1-for-1. He actually charged straight into Poco, just blew him the heck up. So now, time ticking a little bit. The Outlaws, have they run out of rope? That's the real question. Carpe sneaking up, Pulse Bomb there. He's a tickle over in the direction of the enemy Lucio, and Lisa might have put himself into a bit of a compromising position. It seems that may have been the case. Shadowburn's found him. Coolmat now getting desuited care of the Pulse Bomb delivered oh so gingerly by Carpe, and it was fragging out a leap into the back line. Discord orb on him. You can see he's laying low for the time being because he doesn't need to overextend. The Outlaws aren't in position to contest right now. It's just Muma they're sending forward. Here's a Transcendence to try and follow up.
Yeah, trying to keep Muma alive. It'll be a self-destruct here from Poco if he decides to use it. He's just going to try and chunk Muma down up top. It'll be the Sound Barrier used here by the Houston Outlaws.
Only a 3-man.
Investing a lot into this fight, and Shadowburn does have his blade. He will fall, though, before use.
Poco's in position to go for a self-destruct here, open up some space. He has to use it now. He purposely died for the self-destruct himself, but Carpe! He found himself both supports, wins the Pulse Bomb, got into the back line, and gutted the Outlaws from the backs Now it's going to be Coolmat getting desuited here. Not much time for him. And Lynx is trying to make something happen from a long way away. He needs to try and walk up. It's not going to happen. This is a resurgence from the Philadelphia Fusion. Only one checkpoint going over towards Houston.
Yeah, 7 Dragon Blade kills in that half from Shadowburn. You saw him get great usage of those ultimates. Able to farm them rather quickly, every minute, 30 seconds or so.
It's actually
good use.
A very good, so he's getting 2.3 kills per Dragon Blade, I think, is the stat. So that's pretty good. That's a little bit higher than you normally actually see. It's probably closer to 1 or 1.5.
See the pulse bomb there from Carpet. It's so nasty.
Lovely.
As when we saw Linkser use his Dragon Blade, right? Muma uses the Primal Rage, goes in, he falls, and then Linkser went in deep, past where the B checkpoint is, past those double doors to use his Dragon Blade. We saw Linkser use it, and he actually swiped on the supports. Neptuno boops him away. Jake is actually on the opposite side, so he was basically knowing he was going to get booped away. Gets both supports weak with one swipe, and then had Jake finishing off those kills. Jake didn't finish off those kills. Ends up getting Linkser and himself killed there. If he's able to finish off just one of those supports, whether it's Neptuno or Boombox, would have been huge.
Yeah, it was definitely the Linkser show in terms of the damage being dealt there. Jake being shut down a little bit more by Poco, especially, who had a much better round than we saw in this first couple of maps. Carpe was able to have the impact too. You saw those pulse bombs, of course, and in terms of his numbers, he's up there. But Jake is only hitting about 14% of his team's damage, whereas Linkser's about 27%. So you can see that Linkser had a bit more room to breathe, where Jake, he was trying to capitalize on sort of, poke damage being done with that Tracer. And quite often he was just getting staved off by, Poco in the backline or a boombox there to shut him down. So tough job for Jake. Going in to finish these kills, it's easy to sit back and just poke damage down, but when you have to be the one that takes responsibility and actually, completes that kill, there's far more risk involved.
In Houston, they'll have Muma play Roadhog and Coolmat play Diva here, so going free, very big comp on the point as Boink actually connects with Neptuno at the beginning of this game, so Neptuno probably didn't expect that to happen walking out the spawn door. He falls right away, so...
He's like, what's up, big fella? Welcome to the game. I'm right here. Come find me on the battlefield later. Poco!
Oh, this is not a good start for Philadelphia.
This is very nice from the Outlaws. They're not giving the Fusion a choice, just set up. And they're not allowing them to decide in what manner they would like to begin the fight. It's good.
Yeah, we can get a replay here from Boink as just lining up these shots.
Absolutely smashed.
Those are ones you kind of don't expect anything to happen. Starting to hear the headshots, and then
my boy Manga Chisel's out there on Twitter like, this is broken. I hate it. Oh, Jake, okay. It's death from afar seems to be the gameplay for the Outlaws, man.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia hasn't been able to start much of anything. Carpe is snuck behind, so he's to the right here. Jake, spectacular Carpe is.
Can you really do anything until your team gets in, though?
No, he's trying to lurk in the shadows. I think Muma definitely saw him, so Muma chased him a little bit. Now he's going to have to back all the way up, so smart play by Carpe, not going to get picked here at the beginning yet again. It's really hurt Philly on their first 3 attacks. Have not been able to keep everybody alive even through the choke.
They've lost over a minute for 3 kills, of course, that have just stopped them in their tracks. Neptuno, he didn't get the boop on Coolmat, and even if he did, Coolmat could have boosted back up there, so... No high ground control so far for the Fusion. They're going to do it from the low ground. There's going to be a Transcendence being used inside the cafe. So that early damage, the burst from the Fusion is going to be nullified. And Lynx is there to return. He's got that consistent damage over time. And Jake's joined him inside the cafe. You're diving into a Junkrat as the Fusion.
A Junkrat with an Ana standing right there with
and Lynx with a biotic field. So, there's so much biotic things.
Yeah, well, and it's also they're able to play Linkser in Coolmat up on the opposite high ground because Raucus is playing that Ana, able to just keep healing him from range. Any type of damage out there goes Carpe against. They're not going to have a fight here for Philadelphia. Any type of damage they just poke down onto Coolmat, they're just giving free healing to Raucus.
Isn't it funny how, it's such an important kill that Jake lands on a Carpe we just don't spend much time on because it's been all that's happened in this round.
And look, they're going to use this Riptire at the beginning of this next fight, most likely. Probably get one more kill with it. Stop them yet again.
So close to his tactical visor. Sound barrier for the Fusion, though. It seems as if it's time to start the fight. And Lynx are now really just trying to hold that back line. Riptire coming in over the top from Jake. I've seen this many times. Shadowburn out of the fight. He's been removed. He had the Dragon Blade, now to no avail. Lynx surely wants to return back in the moment with a tactical visor, but he knows that Poco's there. He knows the defense matrix is going to eat up most of his damage, so he needs to wait. It's a nano visor, in fact. Lynx gets a nano boost now on Frank. He's going to get completely put in the blender. Lynx is looking for more, though. Carpe dashing across the point. Nice footwork. Actually, the Twinkle Toes effect works out. Linkser is thwarted Shadowburn was able to get that final blow on Kim. The Fusion, good start to the fight, Matt. They set it up with a sound barrier, and they knock it out the park.
It's going to be Houston making some changes in their comp going into the second part of the map. Mumo will go over to Winston. Linkser will play Widowmaker, trying to control that high ground. It's really going to be on Shadowburn, Fraggy, and Poco to put a lot of pressure on Linkser, because for Carpe playing Tracer, you can't really get to that high ground and contest that Widowmaker. It's very difficult on this map.
A lot of high ground presence for the Outlaws, which will mean that they can start the fight at their own volition. They don't require dive or gap closer abilities when they can just let gravity do the job and put them straight on top of the payload from these rooftops. Shadowburn now, oh man, getting trapped up, so he's not going to be able to chase that one up, and Jake was there. He just gives him a remote mine and a kiss goodbye. Going to be a potential D-suit here on Cool Matt. Yes, Carpe is able to complete it. Now back to the payload. See, the Poco was standing by. He's on payload duty right now. Again, it's a French thing. We know Wins was very good at that back in the day.
I'm sure that's what he was really excited about.
Let's be honest,
payload duty.
Tell me what else Wins was known for as a Lucio player outside of standing on the payload. I'll wait. I'll wait.
How long do you want to wait?
As long as it takes. Big shout out to my man, Wins. Living the Quake dream, if I'm not mistaken, right now, while his brother represents for the Dallas Fuel. That'll be AKM.
I think he'll be a player eventually in Overwatch League Wins if he decides he wants to.
Again, he's got the brain on him. Definitely got the attitude as well. Definitely rubbed a couple of people up the wrong way. Jake's about to do just that though as well. So it's just going to continue to get painful here. He finds Boombox, so that's the one pick they were looking for. And again, it forces a reset. Even a psychological impact. You saw the tire going and you saw the Fusion spread. Because they'd set up in that left-hand side from camera right now, in those hallways, you're so susceptible just to getting blown to smithereens by a Riptire, and this is great. Look how much zone control the Outlaws have, right? Linkser has 6 sight lines. Jake prevents the Fusion from also coming through the corridors on the left.
Carpe now switches over to Widowmaker, so you force Carpe to get off of Tracer, which gave you so many problems in your first half. Be a sound barrier to open things up for the Philadelphia Fusion as they're trying to come on through. It's a 6 sleep dart though that Raucus connects onto Fraggy as they use a self-destruct to take him out.
It's a 5 for 5 right now, but Poco's about to have his mech removed. He'll have the self-destruct in order to get it back, and I think he needs it right now. It's crunch time for the Philadelphia Fusion. And Shadowburn says, guys, what about the payload? He's sitting close to it. Jake now steps forward, realizes he might have put himself in somewhat of a vulnerable position, but the backup's there from Raucus. Oh, opportunism at its best. Shadowburn must have had the call that Linkser was in a rough spot up on the high ground, so he just goes in for the kill steal, and now he's starting to move. It's also the Lucio speed boost is helping with that. Raucus couldn't back away. Anna, not known for her mobility. And now the Fusion are getting very close here to taking this map.
Oh, and it's going to be Boombox falling here. At the end, it's Linkser able to pick him up somehow. Going to use the end for sight, but Shadowburn with the Dragon Blade could carve through Houston as they try to come out these doors. It's another pick from Linkser. He gets both support.
This is unbelievable. You see where he's getting it from right now, and that's it. The Fusion have to back away. 2 picks. Linkser single-handedly stops the Fusion from ending the round right here and now.
And you could have used that blade coming through the doorway. It would have been huge value from the Philadelphia Fusion for that Genji ultimate, but they're forced to back out, get both supports back up. Neptuno's going to switch off of Lucio, go over to Mercy here.
We'll get the replays for you after, don't worry guys, but for now, the most important part is the Fusion need to start off with a pick here. Carpe needs to reciprocate. He has Infrasight himself, he knows where Linkser is, but he's missed 2 of those shots. Linkser, slippery sucker. Suffering sucker dash, now it's going to be Shadowburn to drop in. Dragon Blade is there as well, but oh dear. Yeah, Raucus gives him a bit of a, as he tries to jump in over the top, but he still has the Dragon Blade to use, and it has to be now. There's no better time. Boing up against the wall. He's down. Linkser's also missing him. This is going to be the landslide the Philadelphia Fusion were looking for. Raucus had nowhere to run. Couldn't fade away. Not a chance. And the Fusion keep the series alive. Taking Hollywood off the back of a solid defense.
Linkser falls there at the hands of Fraggy. It was a good dive that came in for the Philadelphia Fusion, but the sound barrier never used there for the Houston Outlaws. As they connect with that sound barrier, Mumo would have had Primal Rage. Maybe you have enough time to extend that fight to get some more players back off the spawn. It's a tough ending there for Houston. It's Philly, though, fighting back.
Keeping it exciting, Matt. That's kind of what we like to see. It was a match that came in with a heck of a lot of hype. 2 teams mechanically very gifted, tactically also very sound. Great to see these 2 kind of stars collide. And there's one more match still in it here. So the Fusion have struggled on Assault and on Control, but now we have ourselves the Escort coming right up, and it might be a chance to switch things around. We'll be back with Route 66 after the break.
Western top left. Low. Baby disco. Baby. Winston point.
I got two. I got two.
Nice. There's no point. Any hit.
Play slow, play slow.
Give it a score. Nice.
Tracer. Almost back, almost back.
Soda disco. Soda.
Nice. Nice, guys.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
No way. Oh, the kill! Shadowbird. Unbelievable how good he is. I mean, talk about faith in your DPS. Just saying, all right, Jake, go to work, and he does. And Philadelphia just looks untouchable right now.
That was very clutch from Houston.
And we're back here at the Blizzard Esports Arena in Burbank, California, ladies and gentlemen, for what, in my opinion, has to be my personal match of the week. It's 2-1 now in favor of the Outlaws, but the Fusion just brought it back with a stunning show on Hollywood.
And let's see if this will end just like how it did in Stage 1, where it went to a Game 5, and the Philadelphia Fusion were able to win that one. It's their first match of the season. Nobody expected much out of them coming out of preseason, which they were.
It's quite remarkable, that match, to be honest.
Yeah, it's crazy that that match went the distance.
Team missed the preseason, come out, slap the Outlaws around.
You see where we stand right here. It'll be Route 66 coming up next.
Ah, yes, one of our favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm quite sure the Houston boys are more than happy to take it over here to what would be unofficially a bit of a home ground, at least thematically speaking. Route 66. We've seen some interesting play on that one so far. I mean, if you think about yesterday, the Shanghai Dragons versus the Los Angeles Gladiators match, neither team was able to make much progress on that first point. It seems that it's quite possible to get snarled up there, but once we get to that second point, Matt, that second stage, it seems that teams can get blown out really easily.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Gladiators, right? It goes into overtime for them to take point A against Shanghai. Once they do take point A, though, they just kind of like roll through
Rawhide.
the rest of the map. There you go.
I almost got it timed properly. Almost had it.
Yep, you'll get better.
Thanks.
You know, as these teams develop in stage 2, I'm sure you will as well. I think we all hope that.
God, yeah, if not, it could be getting ugly, Matt. I might be heading back to Australia. Might be awkward. Rawhide.
Hey, Australia's not a bad place.
Ah, it's nice. It's nice. Just, you know, we can bring the Overwatch League to Australia. They'll be fine with that. Head over there.
I'm not exactly sure everyone would want to go, but I think there's a few of us who could be convinced.
Good place, man.
It'll be Philadelphia on defense. Oh, no, it's a great place. I love going to Australia. Shadowburn on defense. We'll be playing Sombra. So Sombra's very good at the beginning of this map. Boombox will switch over to Zen and Carpe. After he's done jumping off the map as Torbjorn, most likely we'll play Tracer. Yep, there it is. So pretty standard comp here on the defensive end for the Philadelphia Fusion. Just what do you see the Outlaws decide to do in terms of... there's a lot of interesting things you can do on offense, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
do you like boost the Widowmaker with a Mercy here?
Yeah, I mean, you could play like double sniper if you wanted. I think Jake probably just gonna fire a Sonic in the bus there, or just in the carts, see if anybody's inside of it. And probably he'll make a change, but...
All right, so Lynx is switching out to the McCree here. It's a bit of fun. So we'll see him maybe work that high ground a little bit more, or just kind of hope that the Fusion get aggressive. Also, this is sort of dangerous for Shadowburn if he gets caught out trying to sneak about. Linkser is going to come in with the flashbang and get some Rawhide.
That's really where it is. You see him just trying to throw that flashbang, connect on the Shadowburn once he puts down a little bit of damage. If you can kill the Sombra before she gets the EMP, she pretty much loses all value, right? I mean, that's really what you're playing around here for Philadelphia is a big EMP.
Okay, so the Fusion really are very reluctant to commit to this fight right now. You can see they have the high ground control, but they're not really exercising that so much. They're not trying to pressure. Perhaps they're just waiting for an EMP from Shadowburn. They're just trying to take damage, heal it up, and that's when they really want to start the fight here. Shadowburn's close to that one. In fact, he should have in a moment. Just a little bit of a spray here and he's got it. So he's looking for. Raucus didn't get affected by the EMP. Shadowburn makes a little bit of a miscalculation on the distance, but it doesn't really matter because the rest of the Outlaws were hacked. None of their abilities were available to be used. And Carpe dropping a bit of Twinings up on that.
Yeah, he connects with 4 with that EMP in the middle of the straight, and you connect on one of the supports. You connect with Linkser as well, playing McCree, right? Imagine with all the things that get taken away from McCree. He's just kind of stationary there in the middle of the street. He can't flashbang Carpe as he comes towards him. Carpe will just run around, pick up all the kills needed to win that first fight. Now I guess you have to really just play around this EMP yet again, but Boombox getting close to Transcendence. Poco with a self-destruct as well. We're gonna have some ultimates here online for the Philadelphia Fusion to win this next one as well.
He's just little peeks in. He sees Linkser, who wants a bit more, looking for it. Linkser was hoping he'd do that. Carpe fakes him out, perhaps even drew the flashbang. But now he's going to sit up on the high ground for the time being. Does he go for the pulse bomb? There's no way. McCree could still get his Deadeye off before the pulse bomb detonated. There's a short delay. So that's not going to be used here. Over the top, Boink has Valkyrie, so this is what the Outlaws want to get aggressive behind. You can see now in the background, Raucus being healed, Jake's dueling out in the background, that's it. Are they waiting for the EMP? They have to be. All Shadowburn has to do, man, is get a couple shots here and he can use it straight away.
Yep, you're going to use Transcendence to farm up an EMP. It's a sound barrier that comes out from the Philadelphia Fusion, and Fraggy dies, so you're not going to have him for this fight. Be a Tracer battle that Carpe ends up winning. Shadowburn up top here, just trying to figure out whether you want to use this EMP or not. You're down your main tank.
He was invisible on the high ground, Shadowburn, and still the Outlaws went and scoured the area to make sure he wasn't there. Moom is down. That's a good response from Poco. His last couple of maps have been really good. And now he needs to stand up against Coolman. Oh, Raucus, it's all over for you, my buddy. That's it. Shield taken away. Boink just trying to get the heck out of dodge. And another successful fight. I've got to say, man, all this patience on the Fusion. The Outlaws wanted to fight. They were craving an engagement. They used Valkyrie to try and close the gap and have that extra healing. But the Fusion just stepped back, disengaged, waited for the EMP, and then just brought it down.
I mean, right now, nobody is doing anything on the side of the Houston Outlaws in terms of eliminations. 10-1 in favor of the Philadelphia Fusion. Its final blows, obviously, no eliminations.
29-4 and he lives
29-4 but really, in actual kills on the map.
Yeah, elims or assists. Yeah. That's kind of the way to put it. So
there you go.
Linkser wants to wrap around. Shadowburn taking a couple of hits here, but Linkser in no position. Again, if he can just keep Shadowburn honest and pressure him out, that's probably fine for now. Does see Fraggy, doesn't catch him. Good timing with the bubble there. It looks like he's actually forced out Raucus' Transcendence here. Now it's up to the Outlaws to make something of this.
It'll be a self-destruct that comes in. They actually take out Shadowburn, so you won't have to deal with an EMP. Jake takes out both supports, so this is exactly what the Houston Outlaws needed. Be a self-destruct that comes in from Poco. Carpe still here as well.
Poco has been godlike. He's been so good on this map so far, man. 16 seconds left, and Jake can't even get the mega health back inside Big L's because it's been hacked. Shadowburn has another EMP as well. This could be the timing to shut things down. Now the Fusion waiting for their chance. Shadowburn chooses to get out, but he's invisible now, so he just drops him wherever the heck he wants. And you know he's looking for old mate Raucus. He's found him. EMP in. No shields available for the Omnic Monk, and he is turned into fancy high-class jewelry. That's going to be it. The Fusion wake up here. And there's nothing that Jake could really do but stay around and watch as it all fell apart. Full hold, first point, Philadelphia Fusion.
We saw it on the stat card for the last map, but really, you know, on Hollywood, and then the beginning here, you know, obviously we talked a lot about Shadowburn. Carpe goes 14-0 there in that first half. Poco, man, has been sick on D.Va. You know, he's able to stay alive, right? They lose Fraggy, and then Houston has that advantage. They're coming in. They
He has 32% of his team's damage.
Yep, able to stay alive. That's what I talked about at half. They needed one of these two players, whether it be Poco or Shadowburn, play a little bit more aggressive, you know, get some more, you know, just kind of get some more slaying potential out of either of these two players, right? You know, some
Absolutely.
Kills.
Just get some front-loaded damage, you know?
Yeah.
A stun silence now over the arena, at least for the time being, as the Outlaws are looking down the barrel of a map 5 that they really would have liked to have avoided. You better believe it. Let's see how honest I can keep the observers and start throwing in Rawhide in-game. I didn't mean to say Rawhide there, but
I'm sure they'll deliver, yep. Now they're just expecting it to come through. As Houston on defense, Raucus will play Sombra, so they're going to go with Sombra as their secondary support, most likely. So last time Philadelphia Fusion on defense, they ran Boombox on Zen, they had Neptuno play that Lucio, and they kept Carpe on Tracer, and they played Sombra as a secondary DPS. This time you're going to see Houston on defense play her as a support, obviously still able to put down a lot of damage as well, but it's going to put a lot of pressure on Boink to stay alive, and with so much pressure coming out from Carpe and Poco, it's going to be very difficult.
Unbelievable amount of EMPs as well. Shadowburn, and you could see how much the Fusion wanted to play around it. I suppose a team that involves a player like Neptuno are going to be very interested in making the most out of Sombra. Neptuno was one of the first adopters of Sombra, using her in this way. In fact, I'd have to almost say the first. I'll be confident in saying that. Big player, big brain, of course, for him, and obviously they've used that Sombra extremely well. It's been Shadowburn playing that now. The Outlaws, does it get better?
This is something we don't really see Shadowburn play too often. He's going to play Widowmaker. I can't remember, we've casted a lot of Shadowburn. I cannot remember him.
I have seen it, and it wasn't great, to be honest with you. It wasn't at Carpe level, but perhaps they don't need it to be, man.
Maybe it kind of catches Houston off guard a little bit, right? Because you'd expect them to play Widowmaker with a Genji, right? You'd expect Carpe to play the Widowmaker and then Shadowburn to play the Genji, just a little bit of a different look.
The classic Boston strat, they only play one comp. And you see him throw in these. Shadowburn, though, sits on the ground there, a little bit dangerous, yeah. It's going to be an easy pickup there from Raucus, as you see the Shadowburn was looking worse for wear. Raucus, by the way, yeah, he's got an EMP. No big deal, of course, just Sombra things.
Yeah, maybe the thought for the Philadelphia Fusion is that where they have to get the payload is obviously not too far. They basically just have to take point A, even a little bit of less. That if Shadowburn can get one pick with that Widowmaker, it makes a whole world of difference, right? Wow. They're able to just kind of run on through there, but the bad part is you're playing around him and you're not getting those picks. You're allowing the Houston Outlaws to build up ults like this.
It's going to happen right now. Neptuno being the target this time around. So Boombox loses his shielding, but isn't able to be focused out. So here's the opening for the Philadelphia Fusion. Perhaps they weren't looking for the right targets. Linksa falls to a poison mine of all things. Yeah, it's a 6v4 situation here. Poco, desuited, but that's the only real casualty that the Fusion have suffered so far. So they need to press the advantage. They've got to go now. This Pulse Bomb could wreck things though. Boombox steps away. Pulse Bomb to no avail. Multiple Houston Outlaws ultimates committed and not used effectively. Oh, Boombox across the map as well. Jake just gets slapped in the back of the head with those orbs. And the payload is moving. Contested for the time being now, as it's almost a stall. It's a trickling of Outlaws players.
Okay, so the Outlaws are going to have one shot at this. Raucus has an EMP. He's all the way behind enemy lines.
Oh no, they know!
Now they're going to know exactly where he is. They're going to know where Raucus is coming from. They actually send Carpe back there to deal with it.
Carpe now, not only seizing victory here will require them to remove Raucus, and they've got him. Now it's going to be the Transcendent, so no EMP. In fact, EMP was used there to really no avail. Linkster trying to look up into the sky, trying to chase down Neptuna, but it's not going to be a possibility. Shadowburn deals with him. Boombox sitting in the back. Discord orb on towards Moomer there, a little bit worried about him dropping back at him, but Coolmat is low. This is going to be a struggle for the Outlaws to bring things back. Jake at least has been able to bind Shadowburn, but now over the fight, it's just Raucus and Moomer really holding on. Coolmat's there. See, Raucus has to get out, he's too low on HP. Philadelphia Fusion controlling the point now. Moomer down to about 20% of his HP, and that's the sound barrier being brought in.
Yeah, and he does get hit by it, so you're going to get the sound barrier onto Muma and Linkster. It is worn off now, though.
Raucus low.
Raucus will get low. He needs to stay alive, trying to build up towards another EMP. Jake with a pulse bomb doesn't care with anything. Poco still going huge here for Philadelphia.
Perfect from him. A couple kills that were really needed now. They need to shut down these Outlaws. They don't have insta-burst potential outside of the Widowmaker, and they need to remove these players from the point of Philadelphia Fusion. They're going to make this a series. Is the reverse sweep on the cards? It wouldn't be the first time we've seen it from these guys.
In terms of just kills, right? Final blows for both teams. It's going to be 38 for the Philadelphia Fusion, only 13 for the Houston Outlaws. The game dominated yet again. It's Poco and Carpe. Poco, 24 limbs, 12 final blows, only 1 death. Carpe, 26 limbs, 11 final blows, only 1 death. Both of these players coming alive on Hollywood and Route 66 to force a 5th game between these two teams.
Diva, guys, Diva, last fight. Diva. MVP. Merci. Monkey. Monkey one. I got AP soon. Nice. Okay, Monkey the flash. Price Bien. Baby. Nice, guys.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Well, here it is. This match has gone all the way in a way that we never expected it to, Matt. It started off with the Outlaws 2-0 ahead on map, looking just so dominant, and it all changed after halftime.
It looked like this was going to be at least a 3-0 win for the Houston Outlaws, potentially a 4-0. But man, after halftime, I don't know what they told Poco in the back. He's come out. Well, what did he finish with in terms of deaths on Hollywood? It was like really low. It was like just like below 10, I think.
Yes,
and then
around 7, I
comes
think.
in the next map and only dies once there. So the guy has just put on a show the last 2 maps. Can they do it again here in our 5th map, which will be Ilios? I'm excited potentially if we see Ruins here, a very good Carpe Linkser Widow battle, and that looks like exactly what we're going to get here at the beginning.
Yeah, it is. So what you're seeing on the screen now is just a bit of a montage of the different stages of this map, but you know, it's randomized which map we get first. So that's going to be a lot of fun as we head into that one. And again, yeah, will it be, again, no, will it be Carpe on that one, or will it be Shadowburn? Like, do they want to trace it? Because we just, I'm not really sure, because they just ran Shadowburn and Widowmaker before. I don't know if that's a really good matchup for the Fusion, if it's Shadowburn versus...
To be fair, towards the end of Route 66, he started to pick up a few kills on the Widowmaker, so maybe in some of the games off that EQO played, he had a chance to work on some other heroes, right, over the break. I mean, these guys are playing so much Overwatch now that they have the opportunity to work on so many different heroes. Like a Taimu, he's figured out how to play main tank. I'm sure if they told him he needed to be support in a week, he'd figure it out as well.
He's figured out how to play main tank for now. I guess against the teams that he's gone up against, absolutely. I'm quite sure it's a bit more nuanced than that one. But Ruins, we get Ruins. So we do get to see, you know, a map that is so heavily balanced on, you know, which Widowmaker is doing work.
Well, do the Widowmakers necessarily need to be the ones that put in the work here? Because as long as Shadowburn makes Linkser's life a little bit difficult, you think that Carpe would be able to win that 1v1 on the ground, right? So, maybe it's not the Widowmakers popping off. All Shadowburn needs to do is really win, what, 1 engagement with Linkser, maybe 2?
Ideally, don't fight Linkser head-to-head and just try and have a bigger impact on the rest of the enemy team. That's an option. We'll have to see. And Shadowburn, he's not the most crazy aggressive player out.
Instead of, where you're looking at Linkser trying to track him down, make it so it's the other way around. Look at how much damage Shadowburn's already done to some of these tanks, already up to 52% on his ult.
Yeah, man, we're watching Linkser, but look at the health bars up the top there. You can just see Coolmat, Boink getting chunked down, Muma looking at half HP, Poco following up on the damage being dealt by Shadowburn, who, as you can see, at only 1 HP, has suffered a little bit of attention, but it's still looking strong.
Yeah, so they bring in a Widowmaker of their own, the Philadelphia Fusion, not the one we all expected, but Shadowburn right now. Okay, so he's got a 57% scoped accuracy.
Okay, he's bungee jumping.
But he's got no critical hits. So he's just putting down damage on the big bodies of the Houston Outlaws, getting them weak, and that's forcing Linkser, instead of Linkser now just going to town, right, just picking people off left and right on the Philadelphia side. Now Linkser's looking for Shadowburn. All Shadowburn has to do is what? Stay alive. Essentially, right? Just stay alive.
Might get harder and harder as the round goes on, and Linkser starts looking for the source of the damage that his teammates are being forced to suffer. You see the trading. These shots at Shadowburn is the one to open up. First notch on the belt. Linkser headed back to spawn for another crack at it here, and that's going to make life even harder. He stays hidden from Linkser for so long. But yeah, Linkser's done with this. He's not having it anymore. Over to the Genji.
I said Shadowburn had 0% crit hit accuracy. The next shot, a headshot right onto Linkser. Jumps right up to 10%. So that's exactly what they wanted. That could not have gone better for the Philadelphia Fusion. They're going to get infrared sight now as well. Getting Carpe the availability with this pulse bomb to maybe make a big play.
And we're already seeing some depth from this team, and that's the big stick, Linkser. There's no better time to put a pulse bomb in the enemy team than when they're all inside a cavern. And Carpe cleans house, and it's a party now. What goes around comes around.
I love it. I love it. As you know, I've been playing shooters my entire life. That is one thing that crosses over to all different shooters.
I think Linkser just reflected a shot into Shadowburn, though. I could be wrong, but that would make sense why we saw the headshots hit marker.
Yeah.
Primer Rage here for moving our mat, so really something needs to be done. It's going to be a sound barrier for the Houston Outlaws. Everyone but Jake is getting that one here, so they're going to hang around on the point and just have a little bit more staying power. Transcendence, though, coming in for the Fusion. Shadowburn still on that Widowmaker now, and he's back in the fray, looking for some of those shots. Frankie comes in with a slightly later Primer Rage, which means he has his for longer, essentially. Dropping down, It's going to be a Dragon Blade, even Link's are in easy, get rid of the Widowmaker, but Shadowbird is running away, trying to escape here. Does eventually fall to Link's, but that's all he's going to get for him. He might fall here, he does. Fraggy follows up, chases him down. Now the Fusion can transition back to the point, but Carve's looking worse for wear. Nice pulse bomb. Cormat chunked low, but not taken out of the fight. He'll be able to survive that hit, and Neptuno's going to fall. He'll be chased out here.
And I thought that was a fight Philadelphia was going to be able to turn in their favor because they were able to force both support out so early. It's Fraggy and Carpe in the back. Fraggy using the Primal Rage, jumped right onto Boink and Raucus. They ended up using both of their support ults.
Right.
The sound barrier for the Philadelphia Fusion comes in a little bit later. They had that extra support ult on the point. They're just not able to win it. Shadowbird now will go over to Genji, so you know the Widowmaker experiment's done. He played quite well with it. It'll be Transcendence used by Houston to try and force them back. Carpe's actually on the point here.
Jeez, the Outlaws are using this now like a jungle gym, getting up on top of that high ground and really pushing forward. You can see how much emphasis they were placing on that location. Shadowbird's back. That Genji, like we mentioned beforehand, so the Widow shenanigans are over. Jake has a pulse bomb though, but takes a glancing hit there from what looked to be Neptuno. So we couldn't chase that one up immediately. The Fusion are just posturing for position. Like they don't have any big ultimates here. Jake, that's a nice pulse bomb, but doesn't actually find anything with it. Perhaps not so nice in the end. Fair enough. Carpe's down.
Yeah, the pulse pretty much goes right through everybody. There's so many bodies there. He probably threw it in the one spot. It didn't connect with anything. The beat Linkster though, gets a kill though at the beginning. So now the Philadelphia having to back out again. Houston getting a lot of percentage of the point. This may be Philadelphia's window though, Mitch. They have Transcendence, Sound Barrier, and their Dragon Blade. Just the Sound Barrier for the Houston Outlaws.
Now it's the perfect storm. Lisa has a blade as well, but will he be able to use it properly here? Probably not. He sees the Transcendence being used, but he knows it's pretty much now or never. He will never get the chance. Shadowbird hunts him down. Knife in the back was all it took there to deal with the Finnish Maverick. And there's more to be done here. Jake's found Boombox though, and this fight is pretty even at this stage. You can see Shadowbird now just kind of not getting to be where he wants to be. Complete focus from Muma into dealing with him, and the extra damage as he comes out of Primal Rage means that Shadowbird has to keep his head down. Drawn out fight. That's what Muma was hoping for now. It's going to be the Transcendence to follow up the Dragon Blade for Linkster. He's going to make it big. He gets Neptuno. That's one. Looking for more over the top. I think he was shaking down Fraggy, who has a Primal Rage of his own. That's all Linkster gets though. Just the one kill, Matt.
They had it earlier though. In that first fight, they lose Raucus at 99%. To Transcendence. Fraggy trying to knock Coolmat back, gets him weak. Should get defect here soon. You get Muma and Jake back in the action though. Raucus as well. The Zenyatta coming in. Oh, it's Neptuno who takes out Jake. Philadelphia will take the point here on Ruins. Win our first stage of Ilios.
We are getting ourselves treated to some high quality Overwatch right now. We were skeptical. Start of the round. We'd seen a brief stint from Shadowbird on that Widowmaker on Route 66. We wondered, will this be sufficient to take on Linkster, who has had so much, so much frag movie material on his Widowmaker in this season? And yes, the answer was yes, it was enough.
It's like, I feel like I almost, the Caster Curse jinxed the tanks of the Houston Outlaws at halftime, where I said like how great they were playing and how they were dominating the tanks of the Philadelphia Fusion. Fraggy and Poco have come alive these last two maps. Poco finishes that first stage, 11 limbs, 6 final blows, only 1 death yet again. So playing quite well on the Diva. They'll have Linkster play 76 here. It's going to be the dive that comes out for the Philadelphia Fusion.
The monkey is on the back of the Outlaws, drumming its fists. The Philadelphia Fusion already had their scalp in week 1, that first stage. Let's see if they can come back. So far, a decent start to the fight. You can see that Neptuno here can't really do too much. The dive heads up to the high ground. He tries to give them that early speed boost to start them off, but he might have to switch even. Yeah. We'll see what he wants to go for.
That was extremely aggressive there from the Philadelphia Fusion. They just jumped right up into the high ground, right at Linkster, and there was so much support there for him, right? I mean, everybody is up on the high ground for the Houston Outlaws. They're able to just support Linkster. He does a ton of damage as the members for the Philadelphia Fusion fall. So now it'll be the Houston Outlaws in control of the point. Carpe is going to go in the back, try and get a touch. She is. He's going to force Muma back.
I suppose I thought a bit of a switch in approach here for the Philadelphia Fusion. They come in now from the middle area. Cormat Low had to take that mega health pack away and had to be careful because Poco was in a position there just to chunk him straight out all over again. The point, though, not really being contested. You can see that most of the fighting's happening in that middle plaza. And Jake is kind of going back and forth on patrol duty, just in case anyone overextends from the Fusion. They're happy to keep Philadelphia contained in this part of the map.
Yeah, Carpe's been giving them a pretty good advantage, though, Philadelphia, where they may be able to break this at one time, because Carpe goes onto the point, forces Muma down, gets Muma low, and then what does that do? Boink and Jake now are going back to the point to try and deal with him. So Carpe is getting the main tank low, then drawing the Tracer in the Lucio towards him, giving his teammates a big advantage. They just need to pick up some of these kills.
Drake now, struck by a few orbs. Again, a lot of just poke damage there, making his life a little bit hard. Oh! Double downing on the supports. That Chudo and Boombox both find their targets. I mean, get you a support that does it all, Matt. Philadelphia have two.
As Muma will be by the point here. He's going to jump in at the final seconds. Does not use Primal Rage.
Couple percent, though.
Gets a few extra percent. Smart play there from Muma. Knew they were going to have to reset anyway. Philadelphia is going to have all 6 ults in this fight. Same pretty much for the Houston Outlaws. Cool Matt only 10% of the way. He'll build up to that rather quickly. This is going to be maybe a stage, maybe a map winning fight for either of these teams.
At least it definitely could be defining. Carpe sees Muma already quite low here. Muma, Primal Rage not an option for him. Oh! Healed up. That's so gross. Shadowburn gets in the thick of things. You know he loves to get his hands dirty. And Linkster and Boink. Not much to say after that one. The only bonus is the Outlaws didn't waste too many other ultimates. They used the Transcendence and the Primal there.
I mean, they do use that Transcendence, though. It's going to be 2 support ults now for the Philadelphia Fusion. They didn't have to use either there. Do have the Tac Visor from Linkster. Let's see if he can get set up in a position to use it on this map. Because there's so much area to hide and so many buildings, it's really hard to get like one of those big Tac Visors.
Poco needs to be careful. Low HP, Jake now trying to go 1v1 against the anti-Tracer. Tracer himself, it's Carpe. Soundbarrier is going to make things even harder for the Outlaws to find their marks, but Lynx is looking out with a tactical visor. Poco shielded some of it, but Carpe just gets clipped with the final couple seconds of that ultimate. Primal Rage, Transcendence also being drawn out of the Philadelphia Fusion here, trying to fortify their position, but Jake's on the point, keeping it contested. Lynx are finally taken down, but the damage is already done with a tactical visor. Shadowbird's not done there yet. Once again, second fight running, he's found both the Lucio and the 76 on the Outlaws, and it doesn't seem to be done quite yet. Natuno! Oh my lord! 2 kills for him at the end of that fight. One of the most bloodthirsty supports in the game.
Houston pushes onto the point, and Linkster and Boink get 1v2 there by Shadowburn. He's able to take both of them out. Maybe swings it in Philly's favor. Now you're going to have Carpe with a Pulse Bomb, Shadowburn with a Dragon Blade here.
Raucous with a Transcendence, though. It's going to be just what the Outlaws need to respond, but Muma's already down. Both Winters are traded out here. Both main tanks are missing. And he removed, but Carpe gets Cool Matt desuited, so there's no tank presence now for the Outlaws left. They need to have it pure damage. That's all they've got to work with. Shadowburn biding his time. He suspects probably that there's a Transcendence in the mix now. He allows Cool Matt to get resuited. Needs to get to the health pack, 10 HP. No, easy fight there. The Outlaws clean it up.
So the points will go over to Houston. They still hold on to that Transcendence, which is big for the Outlaws. And Linkster will build up towards this tactical visor yet again, as Muma's going to have a Primal Rage. So if things get scary for the Houston Outlaws, you'll have that Primal Rage to stall out percentage on the point.
This needs to be a longer fight if the Philadelphia Fusion want to win it.
Without a doubt.
They need to have
they're going to have Transcendence and Sound Barrier, so they may be playing for one fight here, but they lose Fraggy.
Not a good start. They need him so badly now. The Sound Barrier only with 5 men on the Philadelphia Fusion. Can they overcome this man disadvantage? Transcendence on the point. Raucous now just looking rather stylish as he heads back around. Flanking, it's going to be Linkster coming with a tactical visor, but Boombox has used his as well. The problem is, there's just not enough bodies for the Philadelphia Fusion present on the point now. It's just Poco, half HP. Fraggy desperately trying to get back in, but we're in overtime, and the Outlaws have control. Helix Rocket connects. Another one perhaps for Linkster as Coolman takes down Poco, and we're going all the way.
So Shadowburn is holding on to that blade because he's waiting for that Transcendence to wear off. Muma pops Primal Rage and knocks him off the side of the map, so that blade never comes into play there. This is just like their first series in Stage 1. Goes all to the way of the wire, all 5 maps, 1 point. It'll be well to decide it.
Here's the true test of mettle of our players here in the Overwatch League. Long matches, intense fights, series going down to the wire, and it's all going to end here on the map of Well.
And I wonder, you know, maybe go back to that Pharah. Remember it gave the Houston Outlaws some trouble there on Nepal? Shadowburn has a very good Pharah. Maybe bring that out here, but it looks like they're going to decide to just go Genji Tracer. They know most likely on the other side, Linkster will play 76 here on this one.
Back to basics for the Fusion. I mean, Neptuno, by the way, he has 7 final blows. More than Fraggy and Boombox put together. More than Carpe, in fact. The guy's insane. Let's see if he can make the impact here. I mean, environmental kills are just as possible as they were prior on Lighthouse.
It's both teams just playing off to the side of the point. No kills gone down thus far, as Carpe does get Jake very weak. They force on in, it'll be Boink that takes Shadowburn out to open things off. Now it'll be Houston moving onto the point, trying to get control.
Oh, that's clever from Boink there. Really just pushes Fraggy off course and causes Fraggy just to get blown up. Lucio back in the meta means that life is harder for that Winston to properly access these targets.
Yeah, but they lose their main tank, and I'm just amazed how they're able to keep Poco and Carpe alive long enough to just have them just keep getting back onto the point. Stalling it out, it'll be Houston who gets control of it. Well as a point that becomes very difficult to take back. Philadelphia, though, they do have a Transcendence here early. Maybe you invest a little bit into this early game.
We're getting rowdy in the crowd, but Houston have Raucous, and that might be the difference maker coming forward. He's close to his Transcendence. Lynx is going to go for the Tactical Visor regardless, and he made a bit not more than he could chew. It was like a beacon. The rest of the Fusion just made a beeline for him and removed him, but Shadowburn was taken in response. Pound for pound it's been. So gone back and forth, but the Fusion are missing all of their DPSs, and Poco's not having it. He's going to drop off the edge there. Be essentially done with it. Jake now is just sitting in the corner, playing that pivot pole. And it's going to be Muma with the primal range.
Yeah, Muma with primal range is going to be able to stall us out for a very long time. It'll be a pulse bomb that takes out Fraggy. So Houston will continue to gain control of the point. They're going to gain the percentages. It's a sound barrier that's used by Philly. It's a Transcendence in response here for Houston.
Great timing. Just as the sound barrier expired, the Outlaws came back in with the Transcendence. More healing was available, far more robust. And they're now halfway to their goal. Stopping this reverse sweep in its tracks and rewriting the history books to make it one apiece between these two historically. You feel the tension. You really can. Poco here does have that self-destruct, so he can be a bit more aggressive at least and get himself resuited. It's that sound barrier though.
Yeah, and I think if you're Philly, your best route to taking the point back is get that sound barrier out, then get the blade through. They're going to go with the blade early. He's going to find Raucous in the back.
Perfect pick. Raucous now out of the picture. Sound barrier was still committed to the fight though, so a little bit harder to cut through these more durable Outlaws players for Shadowburn, but he's already done what he had to do. A huge starting deficit for the Philadelphia Fusion. Now they have a chance to make up the difference.
Now, Fusion have to battle all the way back, right? 88% for the Houston Outlaws. Yeah, if the point were to flip, I mean, it would be very difficult for Philly to get back. They probably have one decent attempt at it. Maybe it's like a little bit of a half type of push where they get back. But Fraggy with primal range will be able to stall this out just like Muma did for the Outlaws. Muma dives all the way into the back on both supports here, so you don't see him in the mix on your screen. You see Fraggy going into the back line of Houston, just trying to stay alive now with primal.
Again, that was a nice little hit denying the high ground position from Raucous. He's going to have to go back around if he wants to get there. And everyone from the Philadelphia Fusion making themselves scarce. Don't want to face down this tactical visor from Lynxer. He's looked so frightening all series. And it's not stopping just yet. Sound barrier here coming out for the Philadelphia Fusion. No one Lynxer gets cut down. Shadowburn was chasing him, stalking him as he waited in the shadows. And Neptuno gets Matt off the mat. Desuited and all, and the Fusion maintain control. The Outlaws are getting close to those support ultimates. They're going to have two at least to work with in the next fight. That's going to have to be the difference.
And if they would have had somebody dive in with Muma there, they would have been able to probably take out both of the supports. Neptuno and Boombox had to go all the way back by their mini health pack, forced all the way out of that middle of the map, all the way out by the choke, just nobody else there.
Oh, the boot was fantastic. Carpe gets knocked off course. He couldn't land the pulse bomb that he was looking for. That could have been it right there. And now with Boombox going down, things are turning in the Outlaws' favor. Carpe looking for a way to try and salvage the situation, but the fight's happening in over the point. Cormat desuited. Poco's still looking healthy, but the self-destruct's going to make it tough. They're going to back away from the point now. Neptuno trying to taxi the rest of his team back into the fray. They need the rest of the Fusion there, but they'll lose the point.
So Carpe does force out that Transcendence there towards the end. So he gets Raucous weak. They're able to force out Transcendence. Maybe they're able to get a touch here. They have a Dragon Blade plus their own Transcendence to use.
One more fight, Matt. This is going to be it. Overtime now. It's time for the Fusion to strike. Shadowburn though kind of gets jumped on. Drops back into the healing zone of the Transcendence, so at least he's going to be around longer. Cormat desuited. Not a great start here for the Outlaws. They've lost Jake as well. Neptuno once again strikes. The Lucio never looked deadlier than in his hands. And Shadowburn now might not even need to use a blade. That will be so big. They still commit the sound barrier because so did the Outlaws. Both teams looking nice and topped up, but Shadowburn's going to get his hands dirty. He does. It's Cormat, and there's nothing really Raucous can do here. One more slash gets the job done. The Fusion aren't done yet. They regain control and set us up for one more fight. The problem is, Matt, A lot of those ultimates have been chewed through already.
It would have been great to have that transcendence there. Now you're just going to have a tactical visor from Linkser, which may not give you a ton of value coming through the middle, and Boombox switches over to Moira, going to give a ton of healing down. Here comes the attack visor.
Attack visor, Linkser can't use it though. Fraggy finds him, and Boink is down. 4 players left for the Houston Outlaws. They're going to do something immediately, but Neptuno's there. He's trying to shut down Jake in the backline, boops him away, keeps himself safe, puts the Tracer at arm's length, and Numa falls off screen. Now it's going to be Jake going back for the health pack, but that's all the Outlaws can do. No! Once again, the Philadelphia Fusion reverse sweep the Houston Outlaws. Once again, one of the best games of the stage. And perhaps the Fusion are the bogey team that the Outlaws need to worry about.
And a lot of people are probably worried. No EQO in the lineup for the Philadelphia Fusion today. Shadowburn shows up in Game 5, 36 limbs, 15 final blows. A lot of big Genji plays.
Incredible performance from both teams here. You could see some players started off slow, had to warm up, then they started to go absolutely nuts. And we talked about Jake having a quiet couple rounds early when he got subbed in for Clockwork. Then he came alive. Carpe then struggled mid-series. He came back in a huge way. Shadowburn's Widowmaker, what a match between him and Linkser. That was incredible to see. All the good stuff that you could ask for an Overwatch match, you just witnessed.
For me, I think the difference the last 3 maps overall was probably Poco's play. I feel like Poco really picked it up towards the end of that match. We can go with Zoe on the floor. I believe she's with Fraggy from the Philly Fusion.
Yeah, I got Fraggy joining me, who's still shaking. What an intense match. That was a real nail-biter. I think everyone in here agreed up until the very end. We had no idea who's going to take this match. Let's look down at what just happened. What do you think gave you the edge?
I think we just played pretty calm in the end. I think we lost the point towards the end, and we regrouped. We had 10 ulti, we clutched it in the end. It was pretty... Oh, yeah.
Take a breath, take a breath. You know what? My next question is going to be very long, so you have some time to calm down. Let's do that. Now I need to stall. I have no idea what to ask. Because up until the very end, I didn't even know who I'm going to talk to. But you know what? I did write down some small things. Yeah, it's all over the place, trust me. Oh, yeah, how about this one? You were down 2-0 going into halftime. What did you guys discuss in that dugout that you came back onto the stage and then pull off a reverse sweep?
I think we just calmed down and got back to our game. We knew that Volsky was going to be kind of sketchy for us, and Nepa was kind of close. So I think we were thinking that we can do it on the next steps.
All right. Any last words you have for your fans, from the people cheering you on here in the arena?
Thanks so much for the support, guys, and I think we'll keep winning. Let's have a good game against London on Saturday.
All right, yeah. You go on and keep on winning. Thank you so much for joining me, Fraggy. We're now heading over to the desk to break down the action.
Man, I am so happy for Fraggy right now. The Fusion coming back and winning this one in a reverse sweep. There wasn't a whole lot of faith here from the desk going into halftime, but as this series played out, Johnny started getting more and more excited. He started getting out of his chair. He was yelling, getting fired up.
What an insane game that was. I mean, regardless if you cheer for Houston or Philadelphia, you just have to love the Overwatch. Yeah. And reverse sweeps, whoever wins the game, I mean, you love to see it.
It was so
great.
dominant back and forth as well. It was such a tale of two halves. You wouldn't have believed that Philadelphia were going to be able to pull it off at half-time. And then if you'd only watched the second half, you wouldn't believe that Houston had such a dominant first 2 maps. It was crazy. What a game.
It was pretty amazing stuff. And let's talk about how we got here at the half. As you mentioned, it was all Houston. So we come into game number 3 thinking, all right, this is where Houston shuts the door on the Fusion. Instead, it was all about the Fusion's defense. Talk me through what we saw on Hollywood.
Yes, actually, Hollywood and both Route 66 sort of play into Philadelphia Fusion style. We know they like to die with the Genji, of course, and play a bit more aggressive. So the high ground on point B is where they stop the Houston Outlaws. And it just tells you how good they are at securing the high ground and playing these kind of dive compositions. Houston Outlaws didn't look comfortable at all. They used the Soldier, used the Widowmaker, but they couldn't really get any kind of space, and Philadelphia just shone.
Yeah, I would say there's a couple of key adaptations. One, Shadowburn started playing way more aggressive at times and being able to make massive use out of the heroes he was playing. And secondly, it really looked like Philadelphia Fusion were focusing on Moomer and Coolmat a lot more. Poco had a lot more kills, particularly on the tanks. And as soon as you take Moomer and Coolmat's impact out of it, Houston Outlaws look like a different team.
Yes, and that's certainly one of those things you can expect the Philadelphia Fusion coach staff to talk about in halftime. Okay, Shadowburn, you're playing a bit scared, maybe play a bit more aggressive, you know. don't fear the Lucios of like Boink and Raucus, you know, get in there. And that's totally a reasonable pep talk in halftime. So coming out in second half, it was a completely different Philadelphia Fusion squad.
I feel like Poco as well in the second half was winning that Diva battle. Normally we watch Cool Mad say so many nice things about his Diva. Poco was going off. Let's talk about Route 66 though, because this was basically the Sharpay highlight reel. Shadowburn and Carpe combining for so many kills in the Sharpay duo. Showed us some
like
Sombra.
a type of dog. Yeah, Shadowburn had a great
Or a
series
pen.
here. Yeah, I've never seen Shadowburn play Sombra, and I've never seen Shadowburn play Widowmaker particularly, and he pulls them both out in the second half and plays superbly on both heroes. You got to say, the EMPs coming out from Shadowburn here were crazy. Raucus and Boink could not catch a break.
Yes, and it looked like Houston Outlaws weren't expecting it either, because I think they expected Philadelphia Fusion to go aggressive, but when Shadowburn was playing the Sombra, he brought his passive, sort of defensive style on the Genji to the Sombra, and actually with that patience, they managed to secure the fights, and it looked so good for them.
So we said something at the end of that game which was really strange. Philadelphia full holds on Route 66. Ridiculous stuff. You've gone from 0-2 at the half. Now it's 2-2. You're going into a game 5. You think, all right, you look back to the first control, it was all Houston. Is Houston going to take the lead? No. Shadowburn comes out with the Widowmaker. It's going to be Philly who gets control of the point first, and Carpe was just tearing through the opposing lineup. Talk to me about this game, though, because if you look at all 5, I feel like this was the closest in the whole series.
Oh, it definitely was.
Yeah.
Both teams were taking control of the point and then being able to execute so well to be able to retake the point. So we saw the control flip and flop many times throughout the series, but this adaptation to put Shadowburn on the Widowmaker, I think it's great, because it just lets Carpe go wild on Trace.
I mean, it was back and forth more than Brent's prediction, so
it flip-flopped all over the place.
It just tells you how wild the game was, yeah.
Who knows what he would have predicted here.
It was insane stuff. Now, before we leave this game 5, I do want to visit one moment from Muma. If you were a Houston Outlaws fan, this was going to be your game-changing moment. Shadowburn was locked and loaded to close out this game 5 in the second round. He had his Dragon Blade, but Muma gets in his face and totally shuts him down. Sideshow, walk us through here from the Houston Outlaws perspective.
Yeah, well, Houston Outlaws know that they're going up against a sound barrier and a transcendence, all just to set Shadowburn's blade up. And so Muma just knows that he has one player to take out of that fight with his Primal Rage. Muma's so good with the Primal Rages, able to completely wipe Shadowburn away, and they take that stage, but they couldn't clinch it out in the final one.
And this is why Shadowburn plays as passive as he does, because this is what he has to deal with on a regular basis. Winston's everywhere, he has nowhere to go, he just has to run away all the time, and it sort of explains his play style a bit more when you see it in real time with just Muma chasing him down.
And it's only fitting that we show you Shadowburn dying once before we show you this awesome montage of him killing everybody. It's our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Shadowburn back in the lineup and taking home the honors here for our Philadelphia squad.
And again, I feel like this is a tale of two halves, because Shadowburn at the beginning, along with all of the rest of his team, to be honest, was getting completely shut down. And then when you go into the second half here on Hollywood, and particularly the Sombra on Route 66, the man came alive. This was some OG Shadowburn.
I mean, do we add Sombra into his repertoire, as you say?
Yeah.
No, because that was some spectacular Sombra play. Yes,
that might be
Widowmaker. I didn't know that either.
No.
Is this Widowmaker better than Carpe? Look at that! It just picks up Flinkster, one of the best Widows in the league. So, yeah, amazing performance from Shadowburn. And overall, the Philadelphia Fusion squad, we have to say, everyone, Neptune was popping up towards the end, getting kills on Jake. So everyone on the Philadelphia Fusion squad really performed today.
And really gutting, actually, for the Houston Outlaws to not be able to close it in the last 3 maps. I think they'll have to go back and look at some of that footage to see what to improve. But they still look like one of the best teams in the league.
Absolutely. This was definitely one of the best matches that we have seen so far in stage number 2. And with that win, Philadelphia Fusion will take the #1 spot on the leaderboard, passing Seoul with the best map count here in stage 2. 2 matches done. The day's already been amazing, and when we return, we got one more match for you. Boston is taking on the #1 team across the whole regular season. We get another look at the NYXL in just a few moments.